Here we go, people. Kia ora koutou. Welcome to you all. Welcome one, welcome all. It is election night. It is 7:01. Polls have closed, and we're here to hang out and have a look at some of the results that are coming through in the initial stages of the vote counts. Good evening, Chewy. How are you, sir?
Good evening. I have my emotional support cup. Here we have here, just filled with election night beverage of my own concoction.
We have got numerous media sources that we're going to compile together for you to check out the results to see where we're all at. We've already had TV3 News Hub, I think, come up saying, and the current count is 0,0,0,0. So we'll probably have to wait for a little while. I've got the official election site up, which is probably what we'll use a lot of the time for the actual results, so we can get them straight to you. There's a couple of particular electorates we're interested in. I think we'll be pretty clear that we're all pretty interested in Ireland. Would that be fair, Chewy?
Yep, and I'm interested in the local ones here. Tairi, formerly the South Dunedin, the very, very safe Labour seat, now has a much larger rural component going down to Balclutha.
Yep.
And Dunedin itself, Michael Woodhouse throwing a big hissy fit and not contesting it, and now we've got a new untested Labour MP and a new Green candidate as well. So that'll hold my interest.
So the only real news story from the day, and thanks for those of you who joined in with us this afternoon, we tested the whole system. And as we put in the chat already a couple of times, if you want to talk to us on Discord, and look, just so you know, I'm going to be looking all over the shot tonight because I've got a screen there, one up there, one there, and one there, and all of them have got different things on. So excuse me if I ever see, and Chewy's going to leave us all together when his camera pokes out like that. Excuse me if I ever seem sort of distracted. I'm going to be with you all night without question, but I might be looking at various places to see what's happening at various things. So for example, I'm looking at Discord right now. Remember, if you want to come and have a chat with us whilst we are in Discord, you are more than welcome to do that. All you need to do is head to our Discord page. Oh, you thought you'd come back, did you? You thought, I don't know, we'll come back today. Yeah. And jump into the waiting room, and from time to time we'll look across there and we'll put it on. Yeah, we are still on Twitch. Someone in the chat is saying we're still on Twitch. We're absolutely still on Twitch. So right now, that's something else, I guess. Me and Chewy just talked about the issues with TVNZ that we faced this week, and how they triggered an algorithm to kick us off Facebook on Thursday night. So we are going to follow the rules that the mainstream media have asked us to follow, which means not live streaming large content, but still keeping you up to date and bringing you in those stories when they come in. However, if we get caught by an algorithm somewhere, somehow on one of the platforms, who knows what they may do to us. So you need to make sure you know that we're on Twitter right now, on Twitch right now, on Facebook right now, and on YouTube right now. Actually, we're on LinkedIn as well, if you're on LinkedIn. So you can join us at any time on any one of those. Should we disappear from somewhere, which I'm not expecting us to, but should you disappear from somewhere, then you can just find us on one of those other platforms. Hey, Chewy? Can't hear you, mate. Your mic's not coming through to me. So we've lost your mic there, Chewy. You want to have a look at that and see what is going on. We lost you on the camera for a little bit. I'm sure you're aware of that. 2023 general election, electoral candidates. I'm looking at the official page right now. Interesting about the one sort of news today seemed to be that there was a bit of a glitch in the digital system of some voting places. It didn't seem to cause much of a problem other than a bit of a delay. I hope that if the result doesn't go a way a particular group wants to see it go, they can't then claim some kind of interference with the voting machines, because there was a bit of a hang up. Do you want to try again, Chewy? Have a chat, see if you're there. No, can't hear you at all. Just checking out there in live internet land. No one can hear Chewy either. Sing us a song, Chewy, and we'll see if they can hear you. All right. So what Chewy's going to do is go and reboot himself. I'm sure of it, and then he'll be coming back. I'm sure of that as well. TVNZ actually has quite a good screen. I'll show you what's going on right now. Apparently, I'll bring it over here. Apparently, the Labour's vote is down 49.1%, according to TVNZ, as they are on 0%, but that's down 49.1%. Not entirely sure what that means, but it's nice, quite a nice little graphic got there. We'll keep an eye on that, certainly, even if we don't share it in live stream, which that wasn't. That was from a few minutes ago. Hopefully, we'll get the results coming through super quick. Okay, now remember, we are inviting people on. Oh, there's people already over there in their Lost Soul. If you want to have a chat, jump yourself into the waiting room, not the live stream chat. If you just want to have a live stream chat, then that's cool. You can be there. But if you want to actually chat to us, then hop yourself into the waiting room so we know, and we can drag you across. Oh, there we go. People jumping into the waiting room right now. We'll come and grab you as we go through there. In fact, maybe I'll grab someone now because Chewy seems to be having a bit of trouble getting in. Why don't we have a bit of a chat on Discord as we're speaking about what's going on? So you need to turn your microphone on. It's all on, and I've just got the initial J. Can you hear me, J? Hello.
Hear you loud and clear.
Yep. Kia ora, mate. Who am I speaking to?
This is JK.
Hey, JK. How are you? Oh, JK from the chat.
Yeah.
Oh, nice to see you, man. So give us your thoughts.
Well, I'm hoping lots and lots and lots of New Zealanders voted, and I hope they voted for the correct parties, being Labour and Greens.
Well, I was listening to the news tonight, and I did hear them say early voting was, well, one of the news channels said 1.3 million, the other one said 1.4 million. And I don't know if you heard us talking earlier this week, JK, that Chewy was a bit concerned that the numbers were down, and I said, oh, don't compare it to 2020 because of COVID, compare it to 2017. And in that same news report, they said that's significantly higher than it was in 2017. So that's a good thing. So that means it's a good thing that they have that they've got up to.
Completely correct. Early voting is going to be down because there's not the same reason to go and vote early. I voted today, so hopefully lots and lots of us did.
Where were you voting? Whereabouts in the country were you voting?
In Napier. I would say sunny in Napier, but it's not been living up to its reputation recently.
Yeah, so how was it for you? Because I heard some places had a bit of trouble. How was it for you?
I'm voting in a rather smaller polling booth. There were no scrutineers at all.
Yep.
And no waiting, no fuss. There was people before us, people after us, but we had no real waiting at all. So it was all good. And as you keep saying on your T-shirts, if the left voted, then the left should pull this off just because it's going to be a close one, as you keep saying.
Yeah, well, we'll see about that. Chewy, you want to say g'day to JK while you're there? Make sure that you're working and everyone can hear everyone.
Hey, buddy. I think my tech issues are solved.
Yep. Can you hear
me?
Yeah. Yep. Everyone can hear everyone.
I can hear him.
Good. All right. Well, listen, JK. Thanks for jumping on Discord, having us get the show going, and holding the room there whilst Mr. Chewy got his stuff sorted out. But I do have the first numbers coming out, Chewy. Should we go and have a look at them right now? Let's go and have a look at the very first numbers, and then we're going to jump across to our first guest for the night. This is 2023 general election after 2% of the results being counted. So this is all early voting, obviously, and this is from the official election results page. National 41.33, Labour 25.79.
It's over!
Green Party 11.2, ACT 9.2, New Zealand First 6.37, Te Pāti Māori 1.68. Getting below that, Opportunities 1.88, and then the rest. So 2% of the vote, that's what we've got right now. I think typically you need to get to about 25% of the vote, give or take, for it to be some kind of, let's see how this trends. But there's the very first result after 2% of the count. We thought we'd throw it out there for you. So Chewy, you're still okay? You're still okay to keep going, or should we just call it a night?
No, I'm calling it now. It's a disaster.
We do have a guest with us already, so let's go jump in. You guys know him as Paul, the other one from the chat, but also Paul Barlow of TikTok, been doing God's work. Let's bring him into the show. G'day, Paul.
Hello, everybody. Finally, I get a chance to chat to the hairy ones.
Hey, man. Yeah, where's your beard? I thought you would have put one on for us.
Oh, no, there's a little beard.
Okay.
A little beard.
It's a wee baby one.
Just a wee baby one. It's just enough to cover the moles. So
Tell me
can't
things. Tell me things. You've been pretty active on TikTok and informing the people about what's going on. What's happening?
I'm having a slight meltdown, just seeing those first early results, thinking, no, I should just go home now. It's obviously clearly wrapped up. It's been interesting, actually, the last sort of day or so. Lots of messages coming in from different parties and freaking out. Yeah, just nerves kicking in. It's going to be so close, based on the last sort of polls that we saw, that we're probably not going to get a result tonight. There's still specials and international votes, and that's usually 2 to 3% of the makeup of Parliament. But international voting's been extended this year. They've doubled the time frame for eligibility. So the chances are it could be 4 or 5%. So that could actually be the difference between Uncle Winnie making it back into Parliament, because these votes tend to go left. So yeah, it's all up in the air.
You're getting some love from the chat. Spiderhoof's in there. We've told Spiderhoof she can come join us at some stage if she wants to. Hi, Paul. Love your work.
Thank you, Spider.
Felix says, hi, Paul. Love your TikTok. Mahi, all sorts of people in there. Richie says, hi, Paul. Kathy says, yes, Paul. So it's all right. I'm used to this because Chewy's the favourite. So I'm used to everyone else getting the adulation. So, you know, that's all right. That's all
shame.
So you just think an unknown result by the end of the night?
I think it's going to be really tight. Right. I've seen some of the polling that the internal parties have been looking at, and they're all really relatively similar, and they're all really up in the air. Like we all know that if Winston gets in, he's going to sit at that crossbench for a couple of days and milk it, because that's what Winston does.
Yeah.
But it means that we're not going to see a result. And last election, his logic for going with Labour was because people voted for a change. But if more people are voting for Te Pāti Māori, the Greens and the Labour as a bloc, is that meaning he's going to start rethinking it? And even though Chippy said, no, I won't work with him, he'll approach it. There's a lot of questions that come up about it. Overall, it's going to be the most nerve-wracking night, I think, for the year.
Yeah. I'm just starting to open up some tabs around this thing. What electorates are we interested in? Auckland Central, Ilam?
Yeah.
What are the ones? Oh, what about is it Tamaki? To see about
yes.
Tamaki, opening up that. There you go. Open a new any others that are particular interest? And I know, Chewy, that we're interested in Dunedin because we're selfish Dunedin people, but for the nation, is there any others that the nation would be interested in?
I'm actually really curious about Hamilton East, because that's an electorate that's got, I think, 8 candidates and 6 of them are cookers. So, you know, there's including the National Party candidate who went to a sovereign citizen meeting and cheered while other councillors works with were given execution writs. So I'm really curious to see if the voters of Hamilton East have gone, yeah, we don't want that fundamentalism, or if they've gone, yay, national, let's not think and vote. I'm very curious to see how that one rolls out.
Very good. I've just turned my mic up a little bit. So there's people saying, and I've got a particular person who's just messaged me. Thank you, Jason. See if that sounds better. Our levels are a bit skewed. You guys are far more dominant than me in life and apparently in microphone. Okay, so I'll have a look at those all shortly. I've brought up Ilam, I've brought up Auckland Central, I've brought up Tamaki, and I've brought up Hamilton East. Nothing's worth looking at right now. No. I've got them now tabbed to see what happens. Yeah, it's so good to talk to you, actually. I mean, tell us about your TikTok. Like, you're doing lots of work, obviously, on the election. Pre the election stuff, what were you doing, and what are you going to continue on with, or if anything?
So my job when I'm not on TikTok is actually helping companies with things like social media growth and building their own platforms. So what I do for TikTok is also training up for the work I do with my clients. So it's really convenient. Like, I'm literally sitting in the same place and working in the same studio and doing everything that way. The build up for this one sort of came off the back of the local body elections last year, because that's my real area of expertise that I've done a lot of work around. And there were just so many different elements that came into it, and then just politics keeps on rolling because of the way our election cycle works, that it just sort of ramped up to this year's election. And then after this year's election, I'm going away for 5 weeks and hiding from the world just because of a break.
I tell you what, the idea of having a bit of a holiday after this feels good, but I feel like perhaps our work to do with what we're, putting into the world, I think that'll probably still be needed to let people know what's going on, to delve into what's going on for the, forthcoming weeks.
Yeah, I think it's really important as well that no matter who gets in, they're held to account. And I don't think it matters whether your bias is left wing or right wing. Holding somebody to account is important when they've got a position of authority like that. But a lot of people forget just how much mainstream media, for example, has their own bias. And if we're not telling people aren't being educated about that, they just sit there and assume that what they're seeing on a mainstream media website is the facts without spin. Yeah. And I think it's important that voices like yours are out there saying, look, this is what's actually happening.
I was just thinking today, now I don't want to freak anybody out, but should this end up being a national act government, calm down. But if it is, what I'm going to do is go back and find all of those things that Luxon has used, all those markers that Luxon has used to hold what he says is this government accountable, and continually, maybe monthly, check on them. Because if they're the markers that he's used to hold Labor accountable, then it's only fair that we use the same markers, should they get over the line, to hold them accountable.
The big problem with that, though, is that Luxon's not very good with numbers. And so his markers, like his export goals for wine, for example, we're already exceeding those. So how do you measure something that he's already failing at?
Yeah, very true. Should we have a look at the results altogether? I mean, I think it's up over 5% already. So I think because 1.3 million is probably 25% of voters, because that would be 4.2 million voters, which feels about right. So this might come quite quick. So we're up to, let me just bring up the screen.
5.7 currently.
We're up to 5.7%. National on just under 41. Labor on under 26. The Greens just under 11. ACT not just over 9 and a bit, 9 and a quarter, 9 and a third. New Zealand First 6.4. Te Pāti Māori 2.18, and the others make up 4.42.
So one of the things that people sitting at home freaking out looking at that number should remember is these are going to be smaller polling stations, which tend to be rural, the ones that were only open for 1 or 2 days in that advanced voting period. So it's a faster turnaround for counting. So you're always going to get a heavily skewed national and right-wing response from it.
Yeah, and also respectfully to our older population, of which I'm fast becoming one, they want to get outside of the crowds and just get their vote done. And I would think that if you polled all of the country, the average age of those who went earlier is probably a bit older.
Yeah.
The only other one we wanted to look at, I guess, is opportunities 1.79. Looking at some of the others, New Conservatives 0.14, Leighton Baker 0.09. Oh, where's old Liz? Liz, who wants to get 2 million votes, 0.77.
Well,
So
it's got to start somewhere.
I'm assuming that because there was those glitches today in the voting process, that Liz Gunn will be using that to say that affected 2 million votes. It definitely would have gone to her.
First thing I thought of.
Yeah, she was doing the same thing last night when she couldn't do a Facebook Live. It was the government stopping them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hilarious.
Yeah.
All right, dude. Now you've got to shoot off and do your own stuff, don't you? What are you doing? Tell the folks so they want to come check you out.
I hope you guys have a great night. It's not too stressful. I think everyone's a little on. Yeah, we'll be
super good. And you going? Where are you going to be live tonight?
I'm actually live on freefm.org.nz, which is a Hamilton radio station here in Kirikiriroa, and I'm streaming on my YouTube and Facebook pages inside the studio, which is sitting empty at the moment while everyone rushes up and have a quick break. So they're just sitting there staring at a sign. I hope that I did tell them to come over here and join us for this one. So
yeah, that's all good. And you have fun doing what you do tonight, and thank you for your work. And look, I'm sure we'll be in touch in the next week, couple of weeks, whatever, and we'll digest
when I fly off for 5 weeks. But
lucky you.
I can work from overseas. That's part of the job.
All right, dude. Thanks again.
Thank you very much, guys. Have a great night.
Appreciate that.
Thanks, Paul.
Now we've got what I've just done, just so you know, is I've just put the word out to a bunch of people who have been a part of the show leading up to the election, including people who I've connected with, like on TikTok. So although Paul's been Paul, the other one, as you know, in our chat a long time before we connected with him on TikTok, but there's Paul Barlow as well off TikTok that most New Zealanders seem to know now, because that is a beast, an absolute beast of a channel. And we've got other people we've talked about coming in as well. And I haven't organised any times with any person, because to be honest, I sent about 20 emails
How can you
out,
plan?
and I just said, guys, just when you want to come in for 5 minutes, just pop in. And if you don't, that's fine. But that's what we're going to do. So I wonder who will turn up tonight. I know Bomber said he'd stick his hand in at some stage. Simon Wilson said he would, but he's going to be real busy. We'll see. And some others as well. We'll see what happens. Should we just do this before something else, Chewy? Thanks for the super chat, Dave Monster. Time to watch the nation burn. Woohoo! Says Dave Monster. Yeah, I put a tweet out today, Chewy. I watched, I don't know why, but at about 5 o'clock this evening, I was having a relaxing afternoon, and I thought, I think I need to watch a movie about the apocalypse and the end of the world. I don't know why I feel like watching that movie now. So I started watching Love and Monsters on Netflix, but I hadn't seen before. My normal go-to.
I really
movie,
enjoyed that one.
Yeah, I am enjoying it. I'm about 2/3 of the way through, because I had to get up and make dinner for those grubby little teenagers I've got. So I'm enjoying it. But my normal go-to for apocalypse movies is either, is it called In the End? All the guys, or with the end, all the comedians together, and James Franco.
Oh yes, yeah.
Or of course the Zombieland. Those two films are just the best in the world. They're my normal go-tos. But tonight we might have a real one in front of us. Also, speaking of our TikTok friends, Spiderhoof, love you. That was for Paul. Hopefully Paul will still see that. Love your work. Thank you for the $5 super chat. We appreciate that, Spiderhoof. We will use and star our spider chats. What are they called? Our spider chats.
Super chats.
Our super chats. And make sure they get used. We don't say to people you have to use a super chat to get your chat mentioned, but you'll appreciate there'll be a couple of hundred people watching through the couple of hours, and it'll go fast. So sometimes it's just easier for us to see. All right, Chewy, there you go. I've been talking a lot. What else?
Oh, it's always this awkward part, right? As the whole thing's underway, but there's nothing really to go on. I notice the spin-off is currently ranking where people are having their parties.
Yeah.
Apparently, Axe one has gone for a full Barbie and Ken theme. With wigs for people to try on and stuff, so that's fun. And apparently, Party Faithful won't see Christopher Lux until about 10:30. That's when he's turning up to his own party.
What we'll do as well is we'll do some electorates, because actually Ireland's at 19%. I think I just saw, so that's a significant amount. I'm just refreshing them all. Hamilton East is at nothing. Hamilton East is at 0%. It must be a conspiracy theory. Tamagi's only at 3.8. Auckland Central's only at 5.5. But Ilam, hit refresh, was at 18%. It's now at 19%. So let's, breaking news, let's go live to Ilam and see what the results are looking like right now, because 18% is getting up there. So what have we got? Leading candidate is Hamish Marshall. Second candidate is Manji. So Manji, Raf Manji's got about half of what Hamish Campbell's got at the moment. So yeah, that's a big jump already, just getting that far through.
That's looking pretty dominant for national there. Yeah,
but again, I mean, this is all early voting, remember, and Raf was doing a lot of really one-on-one, get people to the polls work. But the difference is, 3,000. What is that? 3,000-ish. Yeah, 3,700 actually. So yeah, it's nearly double. Current, I could just look to the point sure that says current margin. That would be easy. But once we get to about 25-30%, if it's a big, there you go, 20% already, and it's 4,400. I wonder, people are welcome to share their thoughts on that, about the tactic that Raf chose to jump in with national all boots all. I think it was sort of admirable to make a decisive call, but it may have impacted him. I think a bunch of left voters went, well, that cuts top out for us now. So yeah, I'm not really sure how that worked for him or not. Do you reckon it made any difference?
I can't see that what was going on would play into his hands at all. Like, correct me if I'm wrong, Ireland Ilam's the university area in
I
Christchurch,
can't correct
right?
you because I'm not 100% sure.
Like I'm quite surprised that it's so dominant to national.
Yeah.
You know, that it's not you know, that like here around the university it's very strong green.
Yeah, but we gotta think about this. This is our ignorance, right? People in Ireland or the area tell us that's because all of the students also live within walking distance at Otago. Is that the same for university in Christchurch? Like, just because it's where the university is, that might also be like if it was Auckland, for example, that's in central Auckland, that's Ponsonby, that's wealthy, lots of wealthy. Yeah, there you go, very wealthy area. The students don't live in those areas so much in Auckland anymore. They did when I was a student. I used to live in Ponsonby in Auckland. But because the basically, I think but I call them the slums. The slums are literally on the door of the university, like on the same road. You could roll out of your bed at 5 to 9 and walk to your lecture by 9 o'clock in Otago. So
The student ghetto.
yeah. So that means they do live, and also, don't knock that, love. That means also they, our electorate is also quite big. It goes from the north of Dunedin past the Octagon. So that's where all the students are anyway, you know, so it's not like a little Auckland Central type thing.
Yeah.
So there you go. Some people are telling us that, I missed it there, when there. Elam is a mix of students and retirees. So the retirees will all vote and the students will be ambivalent. Well, you know, I don't want to be too disparaging. We'll have
I hope not.
I don't know, but if you're going to say who's more likely to be ambivalent, it's not the retirees. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Oh, a fun fact. When I was taking my partner out to do her vote up at the local school today, a very elderly person just tried to drive into the school, and had to
drive
be
into
almost
the school. What does that mean?
Yeah, like they wanted to drive right up to the polling booth.
Yep.
Because I guess they're elderly and mobility issues and that sort of thing. But then kind of had a little bit of a freak out about whether they could or couldn't. And so with just sort of tooting at everyone and being half on the road and half off the road. A little bit of drama there.
Speaking of drama, let's go back to Ireland and have a look at what's going on there, because he's stretching his lead as the national candidate, and there's 28% of the vote has been counted, and it's nearly 5,000.
Damn, that's coming in quick.
Yeah, so it's nearly a 5,000 margin. So it was only 3,600 margin before. So it is stretching, and of course, what it means is, I mean, let's just use a real simple figure. If you get to 50% of the vote, and someone's 10,000 ahead, that means in the last 50% of the vote, the other person needs to get 10,001 more votes than you do to win that seat, and that becomes harder. And that's why they can call them at, you know, the 50th, 60th, 70th percentile. It's just, you know. At some point, it just becomes mathematically possible, but logically more than improbable.
Yeah.
Let's have a
look at Taieri.
Oh, have you got that?
I don't. I'm telling you what to do.
Well, you go and do that, and I'll show Auckland
Okay.
Central. Auckland Central at the moment is just like 8.8% of the vote, and it's, you know, it's there's 13. The current margin is 13. It's between that's the Greens and, is it Labour or is that National? National, yeah, National. The Greens and Labour. It's currently 13. What is bloody Labour on? Where's Labour? Yeah, so this is what's going to happen. Labour's going to split the vote there with the Greens and allow National to come through. It doesn't really matter, other than it would be good for them to hold. Tamaki 7.7%. You've got Simon O'Connor ahead by 64. So, you know, they're all little ones, and we'll see if anything happens and apparently our capital of Cookers, 0% still. So nothing in there yet. It's a conspiracy, I tell you. It's a conspiracy.
There's been too many votes for them, and they've just decided to scrub the whole thing.
So have you looked up Taieri?
Yep. So here we have Ingrid Leary and Matthew French. This one's going to be pretty tight, I think, because of the redraw of that electoral boundary. The rural urban divide is much more smashed together in this particular electorate. I know Ingrid's been doing some very good work to get out there, but traditionally that that old Dunedin South electorate was always very, I think it was 100 years it's been a Labour stronghold. So to see where this goes tonight will be very, very interesting.
And look, to be honest with you about the results and what's coming in, all the other those minor media people like News Hub and News Talk ZB and those ones, News the New Zealand Herald, they're all just holding talking heads at the moment, which is fine. Sort of what we're doing, and just showing the results. They've just got it in a different graphic, but they're just showing these results. So that's what's happening on the main media channels at the moment. So there you go. There's the latest update at 13%. Dropped a little bit, stayed about the same. So 40.79% to National, 26.32% for Labour. Green Party 10.66, ACT 9.29, New Zealand First 6.24, Te Pāti Māori 2.31, and Top 1.78. I wonder if early voting should help Top or not. I wonder if it would, because I think Top was like had broader appeal before they made their comment about National. And I wonder if the early voting people might have been more likely to go, oh, yep, left or right they can go with, and then on the day, less likely if you're from the left to vote for them. I don't know that, but I guess I just wonder that, Chewy.
Yeah, it'll be interesting. Like, I do think those comments did damage his appeal for a lot of people. Like, I mean, we saw just it in our followers and that sort of thing going, well, fuck him. I'm not going that way anymore. We've got Caleb in the chat here. I'm a big Top man, but a lot of the maybes I knew that waited to vote until the day ended up siding Labour is that they're more concerned about National, which is fair. And I think that would be quite a common thought process around them.
Yeah, I mean, people seem to have the opinion that we kind of didn't want to see them succeed, and I don't think that was the truth at all. It was very clear all the way through that we were just talking about what the strategically voting, and we all said that. We said that to Raf as well, and he was like, fair enough. So we weren't doing anything other than just sharing what we thought. Oh, look at that. Someone just asked, what is Discord? As soon as I'm putting up the Discord link is. So there's the Discord link. It may change from time to time. I don't know how Discord works. It seems to give you a new link every other time. I just did a copy of that right now and pasted it. So if people want to come into Discord and have a bit of a chat, you are more than welcome. You are more than able to jump in. Just remind you that when you jump in fact, let me even show you so we can all see what's going on. If you jump into Discord, then just move yourself down here into this waiting room. And I think that's JK we talked to earlier. JK, if that's you still in the waiting room, you want to jump out? Because I get confused as to whether we spoke to you or not. I'm pretty sure that's JK though. So just jump into the waiting room down here for those of you who are watching. Drag yourself in there, and then we can come in and grab some of you and have a bit of a chat with some of you as well. Okay, let's have another look at Ilam. We'll do it all together at the same time, shall we? We'll go in there and we'll hit refresh, because the last time we saw it, it was at 28%. And right now, if I can find my freaking mouse, it is at 32%, and the margin's still around 5,000. So there you go. He's holding now. So if those early votes, well, something mind you, there's only 2/3 of the vote. So what it kind of means is in the last 66% of the votes, 68% of the votes, he needs to get 5,000 more votes than Hamish Campbell does, and that becomes problematic. Where is Labour? New Zealand Labour there. Yeah, look, so Sarah Powlett's got 4,815. This is what we were saying. It's like, there's your votes, 4,815 plus 5 gets you even Stevens, but he wasn't interested in doing a deal with Labour. So not that Labour would have done a deal, Chewy, but that's what he was saying all the way through. Oh, there's a bunch of people in the waiting room, Chewy.
I have another grudge match that's worth watching.
Sure. What's that?
Hutt South.
Yep.
The Bish.
Yeah.
Versus Ginny Anderson. That seat has exchanged hands previously. And this seems to be pretty strong out the gates for Chris Bishop, which is disappointing. But yeah, this will be an interesting one to keep. Yeah, it is a very close one.
Yeah.
And and it is definitely one of those swing seats that could go either way.
Yeah.
So that's one that I'll be keeping my eye on.
All right, should we go have a chat with some people in Discord, see how they're feeling? Got an update right now. This is from the RNZ website. After, gosh, they've got a little, like a spot there. 11.8% of the vote. They've got at National 40.79, Labour 26.32. Do they have like a combination? They don't have a combination. Green 10.66, ACT 9.29. I also think that the Greens, often get. They get more votes later on. They get more votes of the international votes, typically go green.
Yeah, they tend to do well on the specials.
Certainly historically speaking, because those who are overseas, like, we want our country to be sold as clean and green. All right. Right. Let us go and have a chat with some people, shall we, Chewy? Let's do this.
Yep.
Lost Soul, we're going to come to you. Put you in there and say, hello, Lost Soul. Talking to us, Lost Soul.
Hello?
Yeah, there you go. We got you now.
How's it going?
Yeah, it's going good, man. How you doing?
Oh, pretty good.
What's
Just
going on?
voted today.
Oh, yep.
Yeah.
And what are you feeling? What's your feelings tonight?
Oh, I reckon National will pull off a win,
Yeah.
and it'll be an interesting 3 years to hold them to account.
Does that phase you if they get the win?
Oh, I mean, they can't do worse than they already have done. What are they going to do? Sell off national assets? Run the country into the ground? We've already been there, dealt with that.
Yes.
They might sell the other 51% of Air New Zealand. You're not worried about that?
Well, more worried about them selling off houses again.
Yeah, true.
Because, we have a housing crisis. What I love is how they always have a spin to their narrative. They talk about a housing crisis, but we had a housing crisis when John Key left office.
Yep.
So, why do you blame them? The economy went into a recession because of a storm, but they always spin it to it's the left's fault.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, no, this is very true. And all the extra spending that went to COVID, National did very well, kind of blaming Labour for that, and Labour dropped the ball by never kind of putting it straight back on, but you guys voted for all these as well. That narrative never seemed to come out of Labour, even though Christopher Luxon and all his MPs voted for all those things to keep businesses and stuff alive as well, which is one of the driving factors to the debt and the inflation right now. So, I mean, credit where credit's due. It's bullshit, but they managed to trick the country into thinking it was all about Labour and nothing to do with them, but it certainly wasn't.
Oh, no, definitely not. It's just what I also am surprised about is on the news the other night when the minor party leaders had their debate, they asked if anybody had faith in National's tax plans, and everybody was dead silent.
Yeah.
I think that speaks volumes
Yeah.
about what's going to happen if National Act get in. It's going to be hilarious. I'm just waiting and wanting to watch what happens.
And then the next famous part about that, of course, was then them asking Winston Peters about GST off fresh fruit and veggie, and having to educate Winston Peters that was one of his policies that he wasn't aware of. So that was possibly one of the best moments of that night. Hey, Lost Soul, it's lovely to have you calling in. We appreciate that, mate.
Appreciate being on.
And we'll go with God. Is that what you say? I don't know. You go with someone to wish for the best. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Let's take another one, straight away. Who should we take? What's that name? Gaetano? Is that one there? Gaetano. We'll try that one. Is it Gaetano? Hello?
Hi.
Hey.
Hi. Hey.
Hey.
Good on you for voting, everyone who voted. In the run up to the election, I've been listening to News Talk ZB, and they've been pushing narratives really hard, and all sorts
That's
of
not
things.
like them.
Yeah, well, Heather Duplessis Allen was already reprimanded for calling the Pacifica leeches.
Yeah.
And I heard stuff by Kerry saying that the youth could not form an opinion.
Yeah. Look, trust me, I have experience in that world, and I was certainly, shall we say, the only progressive. May not be the only progressive, but I was one of the few in that group. So much so that I was also the most complained about host on News Talk ZB, which is fascinating because I was the bottom of the totem pole. So you really have to work when you've got the smallest ZB audience. To also be the most complained about person. But it's, we were talking this afternoon, HOE, and it's like one of the things that that I've realized for quite a long time, that when people say we want an unbiased perspective, what they're saying is we want you to say things we agree with. So they're not actually asking for an unbiased, balanced presentation. They're wanting a presentation that sides with them. So that's what they say. So when they're saying, oh, you're so biased, how about a bit of balance? What they're saying is we don't agree with what you're saying. And it's like, no, we'll just say what we want to say. You guys say what you want to say. If you want to bring balance, that's what I used to say to my callers on ZV. If you want balance, then call in. You can be the balance. You can have a different opinion. This is where I stand.
And so the listeners were complaining.
Yeah.
This is a little, and okay, so how are the hosts selected for the news for the daytime?
Well, there's no question.
Mornings.
There's no question that it's they find hosts. It's like Fox News. I mean, the reason Fox News can get away with the host saying no one's ever told me to say anything is because they pick people who they know what they're going to say. So in theory, they don't have to go to the hosts and go, now we want you to take this position and this position and this position. They only hire people who have those positions. So they don't have to give them direction from on top, because they already know that the hosts they've got have those positions. So Kerry Woodham's a really good example, a complete shill in my opinion, because I used to follow Kerry Woodham. I used to come on after her, and her positions since taking over in Leighton Smith's slot, have completely changed. And it just appears to me what she's doing is she's taking the path of least resistance to actually provide a show to Leighton's old audience than to be her current audience. So she, on some level, I think, my opinion is, it's my honest held belief, in case there's any lawyers listening, is that she is she's play acting somewhat, and she's play acting to the audience that Leighton had, because she sounds very different from what she was when she was doing nights. And I don't mean just different stylistically, which would make sense, but different positionally to what she was when she was having nights. So I think it's all a grift. You know, that's what they do. So they hire people who either can do that or already do that in those positions.
So can I please call everyone to complain to the Broadcasting Standards Authority if you can? The problem is you have to write to the damn media, and then they have 20 days to respond before it's considered by the Broadcasting Standards Authority.
Well,
and they have a huge outreach with Mike Hosking's got 500,000 listeners at any one time.
Yeah.
And they're pushing narratives and all sorts of things they're breaching. I mean, but you have to go through the whole damn listening to the whole thing to pick out the bits and put the time stamp and everything. And
yeah.
God almighty.
Well, listen, the other thing though, just to know, is that balance doesn't mean necessarily balance within the story. You know, so Mike Hosking is not a journalist, right? He's not a trained journalist. He's a commentator. Also, different standards for commentary than there is for journalism. So you're allowed to have opinions. You're allowed to do all of that. The station has to be balanced. So I can remember all media, because I worked in radio for 20 years. You know, if you're gonna, during the election cycle, if you're gonna have on like an ACT person, then you must give the other parties an opportunity to come on as well. That's sort of what the law is. Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, complain when complaints are valid. Complain when you think there's been a breach of the standards. But if it's someone's opinion that you don't like, I mean, you're allowed to have conservative media. You're allowed to have liberal media. I mean, kind of goes. Let's I see Spider, who's waiting to have a chat with us. Let's do that in a sec. Be with you in a sec, Spidey. But let's just have a look, pardon me, at some of the results, Chewy. What did I just do there? I like that.
You minimized me.
I like that.
That's a microaggression.
So this is the general election after 20%. Gosh, okay, so those numbers are getting up now. 41.3% National, 26.3% Labour, 10.35 Greens, 9.15 ACT, 6.13 New Zealand First. They've dropped a little bit. They were 6.4, 6.5, 6.6. That's an interesting idea. I mean, they have to drop 1.2 to not make it. But you know now, Chewy, if they don't make it, it makes it easier for National and ACT to form a government. So if New Zealand First don't make it, National and ACT basically are guaranteed to do it by themselves. I
don't like any of it, Pat. Don't like any of it.
New Zealand First 6.13, Te Pāti Māori 2.45, and Opportunities 1.72. 1.72 after 20%. So, how much did they have to get to the vote to make it to 5% of the last 80? Someone could do math better than me. We'll be able to figure it out. Speaking of top, Let's have a look at Ireland. Give a real quick refresh of it. So more than a third is in. That 5,000 is still 5,000. So, I mean, it hasn't grown. That's something. It hasn't grown. So it's been hovering on that 5,000 number the whole time. I don't know at what point it becomes impossible to peg back, but it hasn't grown. I'm getting people telling me they can come by at the same time. Yes, yes, Jeremy, come in. Yes, 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 jump in. Here we go. We've also got Auckland Central. Let's have a look. Auckland Central is only at 15.4%. Chloe is ahead by 130. Long way to go. Tamaki, which of course is Brooke Van Velden ahead by 1,200. Oh, there's something. So a quarter of the vote in, Brooke Van Velden ahead by 1,200.
I've got here Wellington Central.
Yep.
As well.
Yep.
So that's an interesting one. Obviously, usually pretty strongly Labour.
Yep.
Big swing to Greens and Tamitha Paul. Labour's.
So is that Greens ahead?
Labour's candidate. Yeah, Greens well ahead.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Interesting.
With 23% of it in. So that could be quite an upset.
Let's jump here and go back to, gosh, I've got so many screens. Go back and have a chat with Spider Hoof, shall we? Bring back to the stage, bring back to there, drag it in there, and say, g'day, Spider.
Hello, how you doing?
Good, thanks, Spidey. How you doing, mate?
Yeah.
It's pretty stressful, but you know, I'm surviving.
What do they say? It's all done bar the shouting. Is that the saying, Chewy?
There'll be a lot of shouting, I think.
Yeah.
Just generally.
I think so.
Either way.
Like you were saying earlier that you jumped on and watched a zombie film or apocalypse film. I jumped on and started watching Harry Potter because I was like, yes, defeating evil film. Yes, I'll do that instead.
Well, it's 20% of the vote now. Labour's on 26, Greens are on 10, so that's fairly depressing. National's on 41, Green Act on 9, so they're at 50%. Long way to go, but you know, normally after about 25%, you get some kind of inclination, and the inclination at the moment is enact government fairly comfortably.
Yeah, it's a shame. But it wouldn't be a surprise, I guess, but it's still a shame anyway. Let's see how we can get that legalese going as far as how they duped 99.9% of the general public by telling them they had $250 each if they got their if they took their tax breaks. See, those are the types of things that I think that New Zealand should be really good at having consequences for. But let's see. We'll see.
It would be really interesting if someone said, well, I take that as a verbal contract. A verbal contract in law is the same as a written contract. You said many times, Mr. Luxon, that the average family would get. I am the average family. I want it. I mean, I know it sounds a bit silly because who's going to do that? But, you know, what would happen? I'm just interested as to if they actually did get held accountable in that sort of way.
I'm pretty shocked that there's never any consequences. I didn't realize that there wouldn't be consequences for such blatant sort of, well, I'm not going to say lies, but certainly scamming. So, I'm surprised at how we don't even have a complaints department for this stuff. So I find that quite unusual, and I was a little bit surprised, to be honest, that we don't have better levers for that kind of thing.
Well, I guess there is the Electoral Commission, which can rule on things. But, I mean, it's so strange to me that it seems to be sort of just accepted that politicians will lie in their advertising about what they're going to do. And if we can't use the word lie, will, exaggerate in their advertising. And whereas if it's a business lying in their advertising, then they are accountable, aren't they?
Exactly. Yes, exactly. So that's interesting. Anyway, I just jumped on. If people are watching who have supported my channels or anything like that, I just want to say thank you. It's been a long few weeks, but yeah, thanks
Hasn't
to
it,
everyone who
Laurie?
supported my channel. I'm hoping that I think I ended up with somewhere around 2 million unique views and 4 million views or something in the last 60 days. So I'm hoping some of those messages reach some people and it helped them out. Yeah, but I did my best.
Yeah,
So we'll just see what happens.
Well, listen, we appreciate you, using our stuff and then you encouraging me to get back into it, because we did 900,000 views last month as well. So people are wanting it. What are you going to do after the election with your TikTok?
I really don't know. It looks, maybe I have to continue to battle evil for a while. I don't know. Really don't know. But I mean, I never actually thought that it would be as popular, or never in my wildest dreams did I think that I would get more than 100,000 views. If you know what I mean. So,
Yeah.
it's a little bit shocking to me, but also, oh, it's pretty fucking choice as well. So, yeah, after this, it's really hard to know what to do. But yeah, probably just fighting evil still.
Well, I saw some bottles of, I believe you're supposed to pronounce it Moet these days. It's not longer called Moet, but Moet that you're going to pop tonight. So, either.
No, we had them for lunch.
Oh, they were
We got them
lunch.
for lunch. Yeah, we had hosted a little lunch soiree with my dinosaur sculpture forefront as a little joke. Oh,
Well,
you know how we chatted to that guy that was helping the Labour Party with their content?
we
I
got.
asked him.
Yeah, we should. So this is a bit of inside the game sort of talking. We'll say Spiderhoof was contacted, and then they contacted me through Spiderhoof. The Labour Party digital team, who they brought over from the UK about 3 weeks before the end of the election, Spiderhoof. It's like real good planning there. They're like panic stations. Let's bring over the UK team to run their digital platform for them. And they spoke to Spiderhoof and spoke to me as well, and kind of said, what can we do? What can we do? And I said, get us interviews, and like we just said, get us in the door, give us contact. Never heard from them again. But sorry, so just to give everyone the heads up, Spides, what were you going to say?
Oh no, I kept in contact for right the way through. I wasn't posting all the things that they were suggesting or anything, because mine is my account has been very, no, this is the bad guys, this is why, rather than promoting another party basically. But in the last day or so, yesterday it must have been, I asked him, I'm like, did Jacinda put that dinosaur in there on purpose? And he's like, oh, I can neither confirm nor deny.
Nice.
Had a big laugh. So yeah, it was at least ended that part in a fun way kind of thing. So
Very good.
yeah.
Yep.
But there was a lot of people that actually I worked with in the background a little bit. So Jordan Rivers, he's a very popular TikToker. He and I chatted a bit. He's the one that sent Labour Party my way and things like that. So yeah, there was actually quite an underground group of people doing a really good job that helped me and inspired me. And so yeah, thanks to all those people as well.
And that's really cool, Spies. But we'll just finish by saying, didn't it suck that Labour couldn't just do it themselves and figure it out?
It made me mad. I went a little bit quiet for a few days,
Yeah.
to be honest. But I also, I couldn't get stuck on that. I had to keep moving. I had to say, yes, I'm going to try and help you as much as I possibly can, because it was that important.
Cool.
So, yeah.
All right, dude. Hey, well, thanks so much for calling in, if that's what you call Discord, calling in, chatting in, phoning in, whatever it's called. And we'll keep an eye on you, and I guess we'll see you in the chat again over the next few weeks, eh?
Yep. Talk to you later.
Spiderhoof, appreciate you joining us there. Let's go and get another guest who's been with us a couple of times in the lead up to this election. Welcome to the show, comedian Jeremy Elwood. Jeremy, good evening to you, sir.
Hey guys, how are we? How are we feeling?
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things, not to be kind of too flippant about it, but I think me and Chewy have, correct me if I'm not speaking on behalf of you, Chewy, but I think one of the things me and Chewy have been saying is, it's not us that's going to be smacked around the head if and when NACT takes over. We're we're kind of okay here and there. It's the more vulnerable. And so I feel real bad because, you know, David Seymour driving 15,000 people out of work and, you know, bringing in more restrictions around, you know, beneficiaries, that's going to be significant. But my life won't change too much, I don't think, Jeremy. So it's kind of, I feel bad, but I guess from a selfish point of view, I'm like, it's not the result I wanted, but it probably won't change my life that much.
Yeah, fair enough. I think, I mean, I've had no surprises just yet. And to me, I mean, the one silver lining of this result, touch wood so far, is it looks like they don't need New Zealand first. You know, I actually think, strangely, how that's worked out, I will take a National Act government over a National Act New Zealand first clusterfuck, which is what it would be. So, you know, that to me is one sort of silver lining for that, because I think I said to this when I was with you on the show last. I mean, I firmly believe that 99% of everything that David Seymour's run for and that ACT have run for, we'll never hear from it again after today. You know, it's all been about, I simply want to get re-elected. I want a seat. He would actually love a cabinet position, and he may well get one on the strength of these numbers. But the rest of it is hot air. So that's what I'm banking on, and here's hoping.
Although he was simping a bit yesterday, wasn't he? Oh, I don't think I need it. New Zealand first can have the cabinet post. I don't really guess. Like, I just grow up, you fucking twat. Whilst you're there, Jeremy, and Chewy, not to cut off any other chat, let's have a look at the Māori seats, because there's a bit of chat going on in the chat about the Māori seats, and there was some word that maybe the only safe one was Rawiri. Really looks really good for the Māori Party. So I'll just refresh it. So we've got the freshest of the fresh. Hauraki Waikato, currently Te Pāti Māori leading that one, 14% of the vote in. Tāmaki Makaurau, Te Pāti Māori leading that one, very close though, only 14% difference, 23% of the vote. But Debbie Narua Paka, 2,800 ahead. So that's a significant lead, 18% of the vote. But here's an interesting one. Calvin Davis is only just ahead by 13 votes. And Te Tai Tokoro, Te Tai Tonga, Te Pāti Māori ahead pretty significantly, just I was going to say 2/3 of 1,000, 600. And in Wairiki, Rawiri ahead by a massive margin after 20%. So there was a very slight conversation that, you know, if Rawiri doesn't win, would the Māori Party get there? Even though some of these are very close, you've got to look at this and you've got to say, at the very least, Rawiri and Debbie are looking pretty solid, and there's at least two others which are being challenged for at the moment, three others, which is pretty good for the Māori Party. Anyway,
I do think the most interesting thing so far is the fact that it does actually feel like finally we have an MMP election. You know, the minor parties, the last I haven't got the numbers in front of me, but the last time I checked, were accounting for over 30%, you know, across the third parties, if you like. And, you know, in our past few elections, the two parties have taken a large percentage of the vote. Now, maybe that's changed. You've got still ballpark there. So, you know, it does feel that, you know, if the Greens finish up around 11%, ACT's getting up around 10%, I mean, that would be really good results for both of those. New Zealand first slipped below 6. That's happened since I last checked. That's interesting. Yeah. They're actually sliding down. But yeah, I mean, it does feel in a way that, you know, one of the things that's driven me crazy about MMP in recent years is that it has essentially been a two-party system with one small vote playing spoiler, you know, whether it be Winston Peters traditionally over the years, or, you know, other parties have held that balance of power in the past. But this time, you know, those minor parties are not so minor anymore. And I think in many ways, MMP has never been my preferred system, but if it's going to work, this is how it's going to work, and in some ways that's a win for our system.
What are your thoughts, Joey?
I just want to dial in on the fact that it's sort of going, I'll take a National Act government over a National Act New Zealand First government. As a silver lining, is kind of like I've got a big shit in one hand, but at least I don't have another shit in the other hand.
Yeah, I'm
not
not
good.
arguing with you. I'm quoting, I'm going to go back and quote Bobcat Goldthwait from a US election many, many years ago. This whole thing's been a bit like walking into a sex shop and trying to work out which dildo hurts least. There is a little bit of a feeling to it. And I agree with you, but I do think just the desperation and the pure pandering to the extreme, and I'm not even extreme right, just the extreme in this country that New Zealand First have gone to in the last couple of weeks has gone from being sort of amusing to annoying to frustrating to actually downright frightening. And if they can simply, it looks like they're going to be on the opposition benches, that's fine. But if they're not actually kingmaker this time round, I'll be happy with that.
I think what you're saying,
happier.
1.3 million votes, right, are all early votes. There'll be
Yeah.
a portion of those that will have been cast before they started talking about the surge.
Yep.
So I wouldn't be surprised to see New Zealand First grow in the votes that were voted today. Now, does that mean they'll go from 5.99 to 6.5 or to 8? I don't think to 8, but it also means that, we were saying before, Jeremy, if New Zealand First doesn't get there, which I'm not suggesting they won't, but if they didn't, then actually it's easier for National Act to form a government by themselves. And look, we're 24% of the away into the vote, which probably is pretty much the early votes. Because if you think about the early votes, you think about 1.3 million times that by 4, that's 4.2 million. That's probably about the voting number of people in New Zealand. They're probably just starting to get into today's votes as well. And, National is hovering over 40%. So it would be difficult from this point to see them getting much less than high 30s. And it would be difficult from this point to see Labour getting much more than 30. Because
I can't see a huge swing happening. I mean, I think that the swing that may happen on later votes and possibly even on special votes quite often favour party. The Greens, for example, often do very well from special votes. And I could see today, I mean, the so-called undecided voters, which I was, again, I mean, not so much for my party vote, but for my electorate vote. I still hadn't 100% made up my mind until I was in there with the pen in my hand. But those votes, I don't think there's not going to be a huge swing towards either Labour or National. I think that's where you might see someone like New Zealand First picking up a percentage point. But at the same time, you could also see ACT picking up a percentage and the Greens picking up, possibly more.
Yeah,
I've seen very little, and this I've just been watching the TV news. That's part of the reason I joined you, is you're waving your hands around a lot less than Jessica Mackay on One News. So I haven't seen much from any of the non-competing parties. I haven't seen numbers from Top, for example, or anyone like that. I'm sure I can find them. I just haven't looked.
I think Top is becoming more and more irrelevant. I'll go back to the actual
I think so too,
results. So Top at the moment,
there we go. Yeah,
25% of the vote. Top are on 1.69, so they've actually gone down.
Yeah, so and everyone else is below 1%. Yeah, okay.
Yep. So New Zealand Law, New Zealand Zeal, Aotea Legalist Cannabis Party. I mean, I do find it kind of hilarious that Freedoms New Zealand is going to score less, get fewer votes than Aotearoa Legalised Cannabis Party.
Didn't that happen last time round? Didn't the Tamaki's party get below the Aotearoa Legalised Cannabis Party? I'm pretty sure. Anyway,
I think most people in New Zealand will be celebrating this one most of all. So how many actual votes have there been? It's 24% of the votes. So there's a million votes that have been counted. Yeah. Leighton Baker's party's got 684.
Yeah, which is probably his extended family.
Oh, there you go. Exactly a million 51. So he's got 684. So I mean, gosh. Yeah, what would you be upset about? So Te Pāti Māori, but then Te Pāti Māori's only had 26,000. I mean, it's a lot more than 600,000, but 26,000. It's a pretty big gulf. So speaking of Top, then we've got to go to Ilam, and we last checked Ilam didn't look particularly strong.
No,
it's still almost exactly that 5,000 vote. So, and this is 36%. Okay, that'll be the early's done, because last time we were here, Chewy, correct me if I'm wrong, we were at 34 or 35% anyway. We might even be at 36%. So this will be all the earlies for Ilam, and now they'll be getting into today's vote. So for Raf to win that, he has to pick up a lot.
A lot of votes, yeah.
Yeah.
No. Some of those electorates will be interesting. I was seeing, Mount Albert is looking, potentially like it could swing to national.
Gosh.
Auckland Central's incredibly close. When I last checked, and I think it's at Wellington Central that it's looking at the Greens may well win down there.
Yeah.
So
quite a strong result there.
There's some really interesting individual, electorates.
Auckland Central, 25% of the vote come in. Chloe leads by 564 votes.
I mean, that's
out of
really
5,000.
surprises me.
Which is it's actually grown since I last saw it too. That lead has grown. So
you can certainly see though, and this is where,
like you say, I think Chloe will.
I don't want to get into a debate today about the left not being able to do politics, but you look again.
Yeah.
There's like 3,400 votes there on the left versus 2,000 on the right.
Yep.
So it's absolutely a left.
And it's exactly the same in Mount Albert, by the way, which is obviously the seat which is taken over. I'm sorry, but her name has just passed me by. But she's the MP who took over from Jacinda Ardern, and exactly the same thing. The national candidate is leading that, but the Labour and Greens vote is combined is a significant lead over. So yeah, there is the vote. There we go.
So Green Party has 3,000. Green Party. Oh, that's Ricardo Menendez March, 3,200.
Yeah,
Melissa Lee. So that's still pretty tight. Helen White from the Labour Party, 5,128. Melissa down by 400. But then
But then you add Ricardo and Helen there, and it's 8,500.
I wonder how many people, and look, maybe I did this a little bit as well with one of my votes, my electorate vote. I wonder how many people did a bit of a protest vote. I mean, I was pretty pissy with how Labour has handled this whole election cycle. I wonder how many people have done that for Greens and the Green candidate. Look, it doesn't really matter. It'll be embarrassing to Labour if they lose Mount Albert. Mount Albert's been a stronghold forever. And it'll be an embarrassment, but it won't make a difference to the government because, as we know, it's the party vote that counts. Other than
of course not.
Other than Top and Ilam and the Māori Party and the Māori Party seats, they're the only ones that really matter when it comes to getting into government or into Parliament. Other than that, it doesn't really matter. Other than a bit embarrassing. I mean, it'll be a bit embarrassing for Wellington Central, I would think, to go Green as well.
Yeah, interesting as you say though that people are doing their protest vote perhaps at an electorate level rather than at a party vote level. I mean that's certainly what I felt I did today. So yeah.
All right, dude.
I would agree with that.
Anyway, thanks for having me along, and keep up the great work, and hopefully YouTube let you run for the evening, and I'll leave you guys to it and enjoy your election.
Dude. We appreciate it. Thanks for joining us, Jeremy Elwood.
Thanks, buddy.
Actually, we haven't planned to do this, but we've just sort of haven't even really used any of the media, have we, Chewy? We've just sort of been talking and checking in, because to be honest with you...
No, because they're doing the same thing that we're doing. We're just spinning our wheels a little bit and waiting for something to happen.
Here's the Herald right now, what they're doing. I'll just show you. They're just sitting there having a bit of a chat, around the News Talk ZB sort of thing. So everyone's sort of...
Hang on. Go back to that. Go back. Zoom in on Hoskins. Enhance. Is he?
Hang on. What I'll do is I'll actually go back a minute or two, because I don't want to be accused of live streaming something. So we'll have to do something just in case. You never know.
We just want to have a look at the Hosk.
All right. Here we go. No, this is. I went back too far. There we go. There he is.
He's wearing a normal shirt, Pat.
Should he not be?
He's not wearing a pair of old jeans sewn together in a jacket. He hasn't got any tassels on him. He's not jingling the keys to his car. This is a very sedate Hoskins. He's learned his lesson after last time.
You think so? He's not dressing like Johnny Depp.
Hoskins doesn't learn lessons.
He's not dressing like Johnny Depp this time around.
Just this time.
You can fill for me for a sec. I'm going to text someone who's at the Green Party, and we'll see if they want to give us a call.
This is that's not the one that I want. I want that. This is an interesting one. This is Dunedin. You got Rachel Brooking, who's the new Labour candidate, and Francisco Hernandez, the new Green candidate. That is quite different from what I was expecting, I have to say. But what I find interesting here is you got Rachel Booking on 6,234. Michael Woodhouse, who absolutely tagged out, wasn't contesting it, wasn't interested, threw a big sookie, went home. Still 3,275, just behind Francisco Hernandez. So that's really interesting. And the Green Party with the lead there for the party vote in the Dunedin electorate.
Okay.
So
I'm loving your work, Chewy. I'm not listening to you at all.
usually that's a pretty dominant Labour seat. So I would say that that's reflecting a little bit of dissatisfaction. And since we're in the Dunedin area, sorry, this is all very inward looking. Let's have a look at Taieri as well. Ingrid Leary out ahead, which is great. Labour and National Labour is ahead in that one as well.
Is that for the
pretty
party vote?
Close?
Yeah,
for the party vote. Yeah, pretty close, but they've got to be happy with that with 27% in.
All right, we are going to cross to the Green Party the Green Party in a sec. I think that's what you say. Comedian Tim Batt is hosting their night, so he's gonna jump on. And
he's got time to talk to us. He'd be a very busy boy.
Huge thank you to Alex for the $20 super chat. If National Act and New Zealand First become a coalition, it would be a bad day for drug policy, given there is a campaign in development to end drug prohibition in New Zealand. From Mr. Alex 789 and a $20 super chat. Thank you, Mr. Alex. We appreciate that. We appreciate that a great deal. Yeah, I mean, I know this is. I think we've had Alex on before. I think this is sort of his area, but I guess you could probably drop off that sentence. Bad day for drug policy. It's bad day for policy. Probably full stop. You probably could do that then, but.
And this is what I want people to remember when ACT tries to position themselves as a libertarian party. They're not.
No.
They are not a libertarian party. They are a right-wing authoritarian party pretending to be a libertarian party. Anybody that was really clinging to the core sort of message of libertarianism would have been like, yeah, sure, take all the drugs you want. Just as long as you're not hurting anyone, we don't care.
Yeah. Yep. Very, very good. I think we shall. I'll just wait to see Tim's face pop up there. I think we're going to cross across to the Green Party, right now, and have a chat with. Oh no, he's gone. He pushed the wrong button.
He's gone now.
And he's gone. Tim Batt, of course, New Zealand comedian and probably New Zealand's most successful podcaster. His podcast. Oh, he's going back again. His podcast about watching the same movie over and over and over again.
I love that.
Before we go to Tim, reminder: if you want to come and chat with us, jump into Discord. Wait in the waiting room, and we'll take some more calls after we have a chat with Tim, who we shall bring up now. Tim Batt joins us. Tim, hello, sir.
Kia ora, Pat. How are you?
Kia ora. Now, are you at the Green Party?
I am. I found it quiet, but it is it's dumping here. Do you want like a sense of the scene and the vibe, or do you want quiet audio? Because it's up to you.
Show us around. Feel free to be a roving reporter and grab someone and have a chat if you want.
I don't know if I've got that in there, but here's a little there's some vibes, there's some people.
Nice.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Looks like a good night. How's the feeling? What are people saying and thinking there at the moment?
It's quite interesting. It's especially to compare it with the last couple of elections which I've been involved with some campaigns with the Greens as well. It is a little bit of a different vibe tonight. You know, the numbers are obviously still coming in. I think, to be honest, just with the people I've been talking to, the big takeaway has been, man, Labour really took this one. Like, to see the sort of result that we're seeing in the Mount Albert electorate, which is just such a historic, safe Labour seat. For Melissa Lee, last time I checked, she's leading it, is crazy stuff. Like, I think it's just so reflective of something that Labour's going to receive this time around, which brings me no joy to see.
Update on that, 34.6% of the vote. Melissa Lee, 5,617 versus Helen White, 5,152. Speaking of the Greens,
that's a pretty neck and neck.
Yeah, 465 margin at the moment after 15 to 20,000 votes. Because what people seem to be doing, perhaps, is being a bit fed up with Labour because they dropped the ball and giving their vote to the Green, which is splitting the vote.
don't. I just told someone about 45 seconds before getting on the interview. Personally, I'm not going to really tolerate splitting the vote dialogue when it comes to Mount Albert. Like, that is just such a safe Labour seat that for them to be in the position that they're in tonight, they've got no one to blame but themselves.
Oh, look, we agree with you. We're not saying that like, oh, why are they splitting the vote? We're saying, I mean, the vibe we've been going through for a few weeks is give us something to vote for. No, you can't blame anybody else. My vote doesn't belong to any party. Give us something to vote for, and Labour hasn't done that very well this election.
I would say the same, yeah, for sure. Yeah. Also, super interesting to see. I'm sure you guys have been talking about all the electorates and stuff, but Lanai Mahuta looks like probably going to lose her seat to a 20-year-old.
Oh yeah,
who's been sensational on this campaign, but like that is quite shocking.
Yeah,
absolutely. Like her performance in the young candidates, young voters debate was phenomenal.
Yeah, she is, I think, an incredibly powerful representative for the party and the kaupapa. So yeah, it just goes to show, like, this was the lesson with Chloe last time that the party allowed her to do a two-tip campaign, because this is sort of internal mechanics behind that decision making. You've got to take a punt sometimes, because there's just so much that you don't know what's going to happen. And it's all very well and good to be highly strategic and tactical, but sometimes it's just got to be like, this person's good, we're going to back them and kind of figure it out.
Yeah, and right now it's just approaching 20% of the vote, and Naya is behind by 543, 3,745 to 3,202. But also, Tim, having a look at other results for the Māori seats, I mean, there was some talk for a while that, we hope that Rawere can hold on to it, but at the moment, Te Pāti Māori are leading in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. 5 out of the 7.
It's incredible.
5 out of the, yeah. So, I mean, some of them are still
how their
tossing
party
up.
votes looking?
How's
the National Party vote looking?
The National Party vote's looking quite down, actually. If I scroll back up, no, not down as in going down, but right now, I'll do a refresh, shall we? This is live breaking news. Nationals Party vote is going up 42.1%. That's after 27. This is after more than a quarter of the vote's been. It goes 42 for National, 25.7 for Labour, Green Party 10.2, ACT 9.2, New Zealand First 5.95, they've gone down again, and Te Pāti Māori 2.47.
Yeah, the important thing to remember, which I'm sure you guys have been talking about, is the special votes. I don't know why they know this or how they know this, but apparently a huge number this time around in particular, and I don't think we get them for, a fortnight from now?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, that's all, the overseas votes and that sort of thing. And, like,
I had to do a special this time. I didn't change my address in time. So I had to do a special. So, it's a wide net of people that it's special.
The Green Party at the moment on 10.24, 13 seats. Is there any vibe around there at the Green Party as to what they think would be a success? You heard anything?
This is the interesting thing, right? I've been talking to some of the party people, and the concern is that with any minor party, this is always a worry, but the polling was so strong in the lead up to this that then there is this kind of psychological effect, expectation where unless they get like 13, 14%, it's viewed as not a successful night. But like, to be in double digits is great, and anything on top of that is fantastic. And I really, I do believe that is reflective of a really strong campaign that they've done. They've stayed on message. They got their policies out super early, so that they can talk about them and focus on, campaigning on the actual messages which they developed ahead of time, rather than this weird drip feeding that the major parties did, and then all this tumult with, will we, won't we, with winning. And the Green Party the whole time has just been like, hey, you know what actually matters? Helping out the most impoverished New Zealanders so that we can, try and improve the lives of people who need help the most, looking after the planet, trying to actually address climate change. Yeah. And I think the voters have responded to that, seems like.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. Hey, Tim, thanks for jumping in and having a bit of a chat with us, mate. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Good to see you guys. Enjoy the rest of your election night.
And when you see Marama and James, congratulate them on whatever result they end up getting, because as you say, don't measure success based on necessarily what the polls were saying, but based around how the growth is coming anyway. And it seems like it's going to be a good night no matter what.
Indeed. Yay for democracy, gents.
All right, Tim. Thanks for your time.
Catch out.
All right, all the best. Woo, the party, the Green Party. Hey, let's just remind people again, Chewy. We are going to take some Discord calls. If you want to have a chat with us, all you need to do is jump into the Discord and come across down here and wait in the waiting room. And if you wait in the waiting room, I think there might have been 1 or 2 people who have jumped in from time to time but haven't waited. They've needed to shoot off, which is fine. No problems at all. We're going to have to get to you as we will. But we've got more people who are likely going to join us through the evening. We're planning on being here for a couple of hours. We're at 8:20. We'll see what we're like in the next half hour and see what we're going to do. There was some kind of rumor last night, Chewy, that maybe at 9:30 tonight we'd go out for ice cream. Is that still on the table?
I have no idea. I have no idea. My whole worldview is fucked at this point. I don't know what's happening. I don't know if I'm going to be in the mood for some ice cream or all of the ice cream.
But doesn't it mean it's either a commiseration or a celebration? Isn't there always ice cream on the forefront for whatever's going on in life?
Ice cream always has your back. That's the important thing. Ice cream doesn't take sides.
I just got to get the Discord link back into the chat because people are asking for it again. Dun, 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 dun. ISCORD, Control F, done. Control V, I mean. Right, let's go and have a look at the results at the moment again, see where we're up to, eh? So this is the general vote at the moment. National has stretched its lead. 42.17 gives them 53 seats. So based on this, they're only needing to have eight more seats based on this vote to actually get through. It's a very, very strong result at the moment. Labour on 25.68, Green Party on 10.25, ACT Party on 9.24. We've all been saying though, Chewy, we've all been saying, it's going to take 5 weeks it's going to take a long time. It's going to be a while. I'm not saying this is the final result, but at the moment, between ACT and National, you're looking at 65 seats. There is a lot of fat there. Not just in the head of Mr. Luxon, but there's a lot of fat there for them to lose before a 2-party coalition won't work. And should New Zealand First not make it, those seats will go up because proportionally they'll have more votes. So that's sort of where we're sitting at 28.4%. Yes, let's have a look at Ireland, shall we? Ireland is sitting now at... Is Ireland, I guess the Māori seats as well, and Ireland are the two seats that really mean something. 37% of the vote, so that vote's going real slow because we were here about 20 minutes ago and it was at 36. So basically no difference because it's only gone up by 1%. Have a look at the Māori party votes. I just refreshed that. Not Māori party, sorry, the Māori seats, which are all down the bottom here. Rawiri massively ahead. That's going to be an easy win. Lead by 700 after 22 for Te Pāti Māori and Te Tai Tonga. Te Pāti Māori leads Te Tai Tokoro over Kelvin Davis by 71, so that's a basically toss of a coin at the moment. Debbie and Te Hai Hauru by 3,000, so that's going to be a win. Te Pāti Māori and Tāmaki Makaurau, but that's literally neck and neck. But still, Te Pāti Māori in the lead right now. Ikaro Rāwhiti, Labour ahead by 1,200. That looks pretty safe to Labour. And of course, as we were talking about, Nanaia Mahuta falling further behind. It was 500 before, now it's 700 to Hana Rāwhiti Maipi Clark. So, there's you'd probably say there's 1, 2 that are still in the balance. But at the moment, if I'm correct, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, 6 out of the 7 right now being led by the Māori Party. It's pretty impressive.
I think that's deserved. They have 100% spoke to their audience and damn everybody else.
Yeah.
That's exactly what they should have done. It's amazing. I just jump over to the spin-off and they just spiked my blood pressure.
They haven't called it, have they?
With that headline?
Wow, they're calling it.
Pretty much. Jesus.
Well, I've been saying all the way through, after 25% of the vote, you get a pretty clear idea as to where we're at. And I guess if you've got a 5 or a 4-seat majority at the moment, because they only need 61, they're at 65, you have to lose a lot of percentages to drop back by 4 whole seats. So they're officially calling it.
Well,
When
it seems to be a
when I
change of
say
government is imminent in New Zealand, with
Yeah, but-
National well ahead after more than a quarter of the votes have been counted. The question remains unanswered and may prevail past election night as whether Christopher Luxon requires New Zealand First as well as ACT to form a government. So they're basically going, cool, we know who's going to win it. We just don't know who their coalition partners are going to be.
Well, I think, but I mean, it depends. And when I say officially call it, obviously Spinoff can't officially call it. Only the Governor General does that. You know what I mean? They're the first to call it. But it depends what they're saying, because we kind of knew that before one single vote was cast, who was going to win it and who needed that. That was always going to be the question. So it depends how heavy they are on that. Let me just say a couple of thanks to some very generous super chats that have come in. NZ Doom. Pardon me, $50 super chat. Love you all, left unity. NZ Doom giving a very generous $50 super chat. Thank you, Doom. We appreciate that a lot.
Oh, dude.
And also
Thank you
Caleb,
so much.
I'm thinking KFC for my comfort eating with dead top. Ha 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 from Caleb. $20 super chat. You guys are very generous. We appreciate that. And thank you for being a part of what we've done, both of you guys. What we've been going on. Right. I think that we shall get to some more Discord calls. What do you think, Joey?
Yes, let's do it.
Okay.
How's everyone feeling? I just
How's
dipped my
everyone
toe
feeling?
into my Twitter feed and people are pretty much flipping over cars and getting ready for the bad times.
So is ice cream on the table or off the table?
Oh, fuck. I think do I want to leave my house and go
Yeah.
to these streets?
Yeah.
Are
Ice
we at
cream's
the
on.
regional warlords part of the election?
Ice cream's on the table. We'll talk about it in about 20 minutes. All right. Now we've got, I think it is, it might be Viking, WV King. Are you there, sir or madam? Hello there.
Hello, hello.
Yeah, there we go. Hi, who are we talking to?
My name's Zane.
Zane. G'day, Zane. What's up, brother?
Really well. Just watching the old election. How about yourself?
We're not watching that anymore, are we, Chewy? We're just talking to cool people.
Oh,
Yeah, pretty much.
nice,
Spinoff
nice.
just completely ruined my night.
Yeah. I don't know what I should really talk about, except myself. No, my name's actually Zane. I'm a former member of the military, firefighter for about 5 years, and long-time Labour supporter. Rather disappointed in the result tonight.
Yeah, I mean, I think we can all say as of now, Labour are not going to get up on this one. We know that. It's not going to be a left-led government from the looks of the numbers. What the final... I mean, okay, so here's a question for people, and we'll do this in the chat as well. If we accept... And look, I know statistically I still could be wrong, but logically I'm not. If we accept that this is going to be Labour and ACT... I'm sorry, what am I saying? National and ACT. Do we want New Zealand First there or not? What do you think, Zane?
I mean, the thing with Winston Peters and for all of his shit policies, he was a big handbrake in several other coalition governments. So I imagine him being sort of a handbrake to any national ACT policies. He has openly stated that he wouldn't be in favour of the foreign overseas tax. So you would probably see him either say, show me the money, or pretty much stop the entire process. He has been rather finicky in the past.
Which is ironic because if he said no to that, then they have, if they needed him and he said no to that, then they literally can't do all of their election promises unless they cut about another 40% of public spending other places.
Yeah, which will be a dream day for the ACT Party, but I don't think that would happen. He seems to be a Muldoonist at heart, and generally huge cuts to the public service isn't really what most New Zealanders would want either. So, yeah, it doesn't look like a long-lasting government either way.
Lots of people, including not necessarily those of us on the left, but people on the right, commentators and stuff, Matthew Hushin being one of them, saying that this National ACT government, do I still have to say should they be in? Whatever. A National ACT government will be the worst government of our time. And I think part of that probably comes down to what they'll try and do, what they'll do, and maybe what the minor parts of those government will try and do and not be allowed to do and then chuck their toys. I think it'll be terrible.
Yeah, well, what I find quite telling is the phrase "the squeezed middle," which comes right from the 2004 Conservative Party campaign in the UK,
Yeah.
and you can you can imagine like what happens in the what's been happening in the UK and what the policies that David Cameron then passed. So it's not going to look particularly well for people who are on beneficiaries or anyone who works in the public service or pretty much anyone who makes under 100K a year.
Yeah. All right. Hey Zane, thanks for jumping on board and having a bit of a chat with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
No, we appreciate you, and
No worries.
all the best. We'll go straight in to have a chat with X as well, shall we? Hello, X. Are you there as well? You need to turn your mic on, X, and then we'll be able to say good day. There we go. Hello there. Good. You're very, very soft. Speak up a bit.
How's that? Is that a bit better?
Not really, but I can turn you up a bit over here as well.
Cool. Sweet.
What are you going by, X, or do you want to tell us a different name?
My name's Ryan. That's my real name. So probably just Ryan's probably good.
All right. What's up? You are very, very soft, so we'll just have a quick chat, but you're welcome to share your thoughts.
Yeah, sure, man. It's been a very interesting election to watch, I guess. It's sort of fascinating to me, and I think you guys as well. Like, I think I saw you guys talk about this the other day. Like, I'd rather go with the safe bet, and I guess looking at National, it looks like, they really have sort of just ridden on the coattails of they thought it was going to be an easy election and haven't thought about stuff a hell of a lot, but people have voted for them, so it's one of those things, I guess.
Yeah, I think that was a conversation we were having about if people were undecided, and I use the analogy, if I was taking a flight, would I prefer to take the safe flight or the dangerous flight? And I prefer to take the safe flight, and it feels like going with National Act is taking the dangerous flight. That's the way I was sort of thinking about it.
Yeah, exactly. Is that gain a bit better now?
Yeah, a little bit better.
All right, sweet. That'll be a bit better. But yeah, it's not a great turnout for the Labour Party, which really sucks. But it's good the Greens are up there though. That's pretty cool. Even though them getting into a coalition isn't gonna happen this time round. But yeah, it's a bit of a disappointment. But that's where we're at. And I don't know how you guys. Where do you guys actually? Here's a question for you guys. Where do you guys think that do you think the swing voters just saw like the cost of living go up and the inflation, and they're just like, okay, we want a switch of government no matter what the switch is? Or how are you guys thinking there?
Yeah, this is the thing that people always say, and I've been having this conversation for 15, 20 years when you include the kind of talkback stations that I've worked for and stuff, is people always say it's time for a change. And what I always say to them back again is, when you say it's time for a change, that's one side of a coin. The equal and opposite is better the devil you know. But for some reason, because both of them have the same weight, both of those sayings have the same value, because they're basically saying, this group here, we should change them just for the sake of things. Or it's saying this group here, we should keep them just for the sake of things. It's the same, but for some reason we do typically vote parties out. In my opinion of recent times on swing voters, and we've talked about this, Chewy, is that I don't think people swing anymore from the left to the right. But they might swing between ACT and National, or National and New Zealand First, or Labour and the Greens, or Te Pāti Māori and Labour. So I think you don't really find necessarily, there might, I can't say ad infinitum, but there might be a small group who may either vote centre left or centre right. But I kind of get the vibe that we have partisan voters, and other than COVID, which was an anomaly, they kind of jump around mostly within their side already, not necessarily going from the left to the right. That's sort of what I think, at least. What about you, Chewy?
I think back to when we were talking about supermarkets a long time ago now. And I remember, I don't know whether it was you or me that said it, but people would vote for someone different if their wallets were hurting. If their shopping bills were high, they would change. It takes that, and I think that's enough to get people. Like, I've been saying that we're very plugged in. A lot of people that vote aren't, and it will just be down to something like that. I've seen the news reports and they say that Labor's bad, so I'm going to vote for a change. These guys say that they're going to fix it. They're going to keep talking about the squeezed middle. I'm the squeezed middle. They're talking to me, and they've voted based on that. I am feeling hugely disappointed that National are essentially going to be rewarded for their worst election run-up, their least prepared policy. It's had holes shot in it, and it's down to our news media, and it's down to our the party that is government at the moment, letting them do it. It's
I see what you mean
like,
with that one. I tend to agree with that as well.
when we were talking to Spiderhoof, I don't know how many people caught this, but she and us were approached by people that they had brought in from overseas
People,
3 weeks out.
Yeah. When you say people, when you say they, you're saying the Labour Party. The Labour Party brought in a social media team from England within a month of finishing the election run. Within a month.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy that it was
3
3
weeks in.
weeks out. Like, they could have, why not months ago? It's just one of those things where it's like, I guess they could have done more on that front as well. I know what you mean there as well.
Yeah. Look, it's going to be a national act of government, although there's definitely going to be a national government from the looks of things. I think that's fair to say that right now. And saying that, what might be interesting to wait and see what's going to happen is, I mean, it's a long way away from a final vote. But if National stays around that 42%, then they're actually getting quite close to be able to doing it with National and New Zealand First alone, or National and ACT alone. Obviously, there's a long way to go for those finer details, but I wonder what would happen if it was an opportunity for National to go with New Zealand First only. I can't see that happening, but all of a sudden National's got some. But what it gives National is some bargaining power. Gives them some bargaining power over ACT.
I am really torn on this as well. Whether it's better to have New Zealand First and their fucking shit up for everybody, or whether it's better to have them completely outside of Parliament and ineffectual because they've been talking to a bunch of people with just an incredibly scary amount of brainworms.
Yeah, it's really.
Is there a good answer
really
there?
Have to take I don't think there is. I think you're right. You just have to take. I mean, really, it comes down to where your views are. Really, it depends if, like you said, you want the brainworms, or you want you want like the weird sort of people in the ACT Party. If you want sort of like the people that read Ayn Rand books that sort of thing.
Yeah. All right, dude. Hey, look, thanks for calling in. Appreciate you giving us some time tonight.
Yeah, man. No, it's good to be on. I really like what you guys are doing. You guys run a good show, so keep it up, and
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. All the best.
Cheers.
Right,
Thanks,
let's go and have a chat. We've got another. Oh, actually, before we go and have a chat with Planet Walk, who's just joined us in the waiting room, let's have a quick rundown of the results and see where we're at, shall we? Dun, dun, dun. So we are at. The national vote is national, meaning nationwide vote. Nationwide's probably better than national. 31.1%, 42% for national, under 26% now for Labour. Still 10.3% for Greens, ACT on 9.2%, New Zealand First on 5.9%. So I'm fascinated to see what happens if these results stay like this. Then the whole conversation around ACT hoovering up so much of National's vote seems a little bit incorrect. Unless there is still 70% to go. What we're probably saying is we might not be saying what who's going to win, but we might be saying how it's actually going. I think Planet Walk might be live streaming at the moment, so we should probably get straight to her just to say g'day, in case we're being waited upon. So let us jump into a conversation with Planet Walk. Hey, Planner.
Ahoy hoy, how you doing?
Good, mate.
I am drunk, so just a fair warning.
Are you live streaming at the moment?
Yes, I am. There are people that probably say hi, my live chat. Like Dave, do you know Dave McKeegan?
I know the name.
He has just typed in the chat. Given your current blood alcohol level, I'm calling you Planus Stumble. I was about to say Planus Stumble, but like I tried not to have stubble.
So, are we going to get anything out of you remotely sane, or do you want to say anything about the election, or are you going to give us some kind of amazing new dance style with the current state you're in right now?
All of the above.
Okay, good. Go for it.
So when I go to election results, if I refresh the page, one of the things that is kind of good, but also like not that great considering New Zealand, is that it seems like ACT and National Party have enough seats to govern alone. That is probably better than National ACT and New Zealand First all governing together, because coalition of chaos.
I think you're right for the country, but there's a little vindictive part of me which sort of wants Luxon to have to deal with Winston. But I think it would be worse for the country, so I do agree with you. In theory, I agree.
and in theory, but in practice,
yeah. I mean, there's a long way to go to see what the final details are, but there you go. We're still sitting around that 42, plays 26, plays 10, plays 9, plays 6. At the moment, 53 seats plus 12 is 65, so there's a pretty big margin there at the moment. You can have a look at the projected seats as well. So they're projecting 53 for National, and they're projecting 12 for ACT. That makes 65, so that's a more...
I am genuinely surprised at Te Pāti Māori. Was there electorate seats? It's like 5 electorate seats?
There's 7, and they were leading in 6 of them, although some of them were leading by 10 votes. So it's pretty on the edge, but they were leading in 6 of them.
Yeah. I'm just looking at it right now, or the last time I refreshed the page. Refresh makes it sound like I'm debelling someone. Te Pāti Māori, yeah, it says 5 right here, but that's at the moment. So some of these seats can swing. I have a question. How many Māori electorates are there?
7. So they're actually leading in 6 right now, but one of them, Tamaki Makaurau, they're only leading by 2 votes. So that's probably why it says 5, because that's basically a tie.
Wow! Holy! Am I allowed to swear on your stream?
Of course you can.
Holy shit! That is a tight race.
My gosh, that's such a big swear word, Planner. What's going on? You said shit. Oh my god!
You had your opportunity and you used.
I could say fuck.
What are you drinking?
Oh, I am drinking Sambuca. I am feeling it. I definitely am feeling it. So this is like here's the thing. I like the chat that's going up. I am channeling like all of New Zealand right now by being drunk. Because like half of New Zealand has got to be drunk. So like I am the peak commentator for New Zealand right now. Unfortunately, New Zealand seems to be losing in this election. So maybe I'm not quite on the money.
I tell you what, I don't know actually why you've got time to talk to us. I think you should be on TVNZ right now, Planner. I think you should be actually doing the mainstream media. You bring in the best commentary I've heard all night.
Well, from what I'm reading, Paddy Gower is trying to make Blue Nami stick.
Like a blue wave.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
A Blue Nami, which sounds very similar to a different word with a different context.
Good Lord.
I don't know what you're meaning.
A Poonami. A code brown.
Oh! that I mean, now it fits.
Hey, They say don't drink and drive, Planner. Is there any advice out there for drinking and streaming? And have you got like a designated log offer? Because what happens if you can't find how to log off at the end of the night? What happens then?
There is a single red button, and I know how to press it.
Well, listen, you're the highlight of our night tonight, Planner. So is there anything else you want to finish up with?
Blahaj, do I need something more entertaining than Blahaj?
No, and I like it that you can't even say it, but it makes it more entertaining.
Like, here's the thing. I know how to pronounce Blowhigh.
Okay.
But this guy's name is Blahaj.
Okay.
Here's the thing, and I had peak logic for this. Peak sober logic, by the way. And it was that this guy would be called Blahaj because I wanted to just call him Blahaj. And if I name him Blahaj, then people can't complain about me pronouncing Blowhigh wrong, because I'm actually pronouncing his name correctly, because his name is actually pronounced Blahaj. That's Shork, by the way.
That is peak logic. I actually think, Chewy, that's the most peak logic I've ever heard. Would you agree?
I feel like I have to. I have to agree.
Well, Planner, you're drowning your sorrows. We think we're going to go for ice cream after this. So we're doing something similar.
Am I really drowning my sorrows? Because, okay, here's something that I probably disagree with you and Chewy on.
Okay.
I'm probably going to be fine after this election. I feel like most of New Zealand is going to be fine after this election. Sure, if New Zealand First is governing with National Enact, not a lot will probably get done. It will probably be like we're arguing over, or the government will just be arguing and not getting anything done. However, I forgot where I'm going with this. I'm sorry.
You were saying you're probably going to be fine. And,
I'll probably be fine. And I think that the worry about like National Act and New Zealand First, I try to treat things with a certain amount of like rationale and try to apply things to my. I voted Greens, as like I told in my chat. No, actually, I voted party vote Green and voted candidate vote Jim O'Malley, because Jim O'Malley is a fucking legend. And I think that regardless of who gets in, we're going to be fine. Like if Labour gets in, we're going to be fine. If National gets in, we'll probably be fine. We'll just have to vote again in 3 years and make sure that the better candidate, which is obviously Greens and Te Pāti Māori, make sure they have a majority. They don't even need to govern with Labour.
Look, I think in general you're pretty right, and I think we've sort of said that tonight. My only concern is who will suffer under a National Act government is the most vulnerable. And what you're saying is you're not the most vulnerable. I'm not the most vulnerable. Chewy's not the most vulnerable, but those who are, they're the ones that may not slip through the next 3 years as easily. May not.
True, but I'm considering. I think I'm considering this in a place from not so much not so much there, and like obviously we need to consider like the most vulnerable. Like I've seen stuff about disabled people would suffer under National Act, and like that sucks. Honestly, it like really does suck. I don't know anyone. Actually, I do know someone who's receiving a disability benefit who probably would suffer under like National Act policies, and honestly, it sucks for him. But like considering like everything like policy wise, like the way that I have been coming at this election is because this election is the election that affects me, like me personally, the most. Like, although I found out that that Labor's policy on free dental care is probably not the greatest. For me,
just the basics.
Yeah, just the basics, which probably wouldn't help me at all. Turns out that I need to set up that GoFundMe after all. But that being said, like I would benefit hugely under like Greens, Te Pāti Māori, and Labour. Maybe not so much Labour, but at least Greens and Te Pāti Māori. That would benefit me, but like people see them as too radical left or something, and yeah. So that's where I come at it from. Like under Greens and Te Pāti Māori and Labour, things would be better, but under National Act and potentially New Zealand First, like at the moment National Act can govern alone. Things would probably mostly stay the same, except for a few changes, which would also probably negatively affect me, but not cripple me.
Yeah. All right, dude.
Which
Hey,
seems to, I was just going to say, which seems to be like, maybe that's their plan. Maybe they want to cripple everyone. Like, then they can put everyone on this is like a conspiracy theory. They want to put everyone on the disability benefit and then like screw everyone over. They want what's worst for everyone. Maybe.
All right, we're going to leave you there, mate.
Yeah, I realize that I'm rambling a bit too much. Sorry if I interrupted your stream too much.
No.
It was exactly what we all
you.
needed. Yeah, chat loved you. We'll come and wake you up nice and early tomorrow morning. See how the hangover's going, eh?
I still have more to drink. Like, hold on. This is
That's a big old cup of Sambuca, I'm just gonna say.
This is 12 standard 12 standard drinks.
Wow.
I have said that I'm not drinking any more of this because I feel drunk enough already, so why would I? It is 12 standard drinks. I have some left for my birthday, which is like on the 30th of this month. So this rest will be drunk on then. And it's like a cone shape. So like I probably drunk only half, so it's like 6 standard drinks. Am I a lightweight?
What you are is going, Planner. We'll talk to you later, mate.
Okay, take care.
All right, all the best. I think Planner what was
Yeah,
enjoying was
TVNZ. How's your life crosses going?
Yeah, I reckon. Let's get into it. Okay, team, let's have a look at some numbers as well. We're going to be heading off shortly. I've just heard from Suze Wilson asking how long we're going for. I've said kind of 10, 15 more, so we might get a leadership academic coming in who's had some, no, I don't know if it's been criticism of National. I think has had some analysis of National through this time that we've had a chat about. Maybe we'll get some lowdown from Suze if she jumps on. The election so far, look, still hovering around 42, round 26, round 10 and a bit, round 9 and a bit, round 6 and a bit. It hasn't really changed since we started. This is what I was saying, once you get to 25%, it doesn't change a lot. I mean, the last 65%, you're not going to see a 5% change in any one party, because that would mean they would have to get a huge percentage of that last 60% to make any difference, which I guess is why Spinoff called it. What else do we have a look at? There's Elam. It's been hovering around the 39% for a while. We'll see what it is now. Still 39%. It's still 5,000 lead to National, so there's no real change on that. Have a look at the Māori seats. I might just refresh that. Sorry, my contacts are going crazy trying to connect with us. We've still got Te Pāti Māori ahead in Wairiki by a long way, actually. So that's huge for Rawiri. Yep. Te Tai Tonga by about 700. Calvin Davis is still behind in Te Tai Tokoro. Te Pāti Māori and Te Tai Hauru ahead by a long way. That's Debbie. That vote of 2 has jumped to a vote of 15 lead for Penny Hanare now, so it's gone the other way. So that's a coin flip. That'll be, you won't know who wins Tamaki Makaurau until all the specials are counted, which might mean it's a couple of weeks away. Here we go. Karoa Rafiti has gone to Labour, going to Labour at 1,400. That was when it already was there. And the Nai Mahuta now further and further behind a young 20-year-old, 870.11, Hodaki Waikato. Let's have a look in Mount Albert. Mount Albert is Melissa Lee, still only 500 ahead, so that's a bit of a coin toss at the moment. Auckland Central, Chloe is 500 ahead, so that's a bit of a coin flip at the moment. Only 25%
I'm
of the
surprised
vote.
that's as close as it is.
Brooke Van Velden seems to be, actually hasn't been updated for a while. half the vote in and is stretching that lead, 2,600 above now. What is Tamaki with
I mean,
actual party
I'm
vote?
glad
Oh, look,
it's bad for Simon O'Connor.
but look at the party vote. Party vote in there is 12,000 to 3,000. So everyone's party voting national, but giving their that's what the definition of a protest vote is. Basically,
Yeah, we
saying
don't like Simon.
Simon
Fuck
O'Connor,
off.
you suck balls. Is what they're saying. And there we go. We've just got our first Hamilton East coming in. We have got, who is Ryan? Where is Ryan from? Ryan Hamilton is from the National Party. National Party leading by 3,500 over Georgie Danzy, who is Labour Party. So these your heritage parties leading there. But what did someone tell us? That they were all cookers?
There's lots of cookers in that electorate, and they're all getting like next to no votes. Can I don't know if anybody else has seen this image, but just looking at the Herald's Twitter feed at the moment, they put up this image. Look at that. The party with the most drip is the Māori Party.
Yeah, I was actually just looking at the reason I wanted to go there because One News. Oh no, is it One News? Might have been One News. Talking about massive swing. Te Pāti Māori soar as minor parties see gains. It's like, well, yeah, I mean, there's gains. I don't know if it would be massive or not, but there are gains for sure. We'll wait and see. I think, as I said, the more vote that gets counted, the less the specials will make a big difference, but they will make a difference. Can we say Bent Anvil? BHN for the win. The only good thing happening to New Zealand so far. Cheers, fellow bearded chaps. Keep it up. And thank you for the very generous $20 super chat there. We appreciate you. And also Dave. Dave says, I disagree that Nats wouldn't mess the country up. I don't know. I mean, remember Planet Walk was only working off about 1/10 brain cells that Planet Walk normally does. No offense.
I've made some of the worst decisions of my life on Sambuca. So
I think what Planet Walk was saying was, National and Labour vote together 70% of the time. So it's that last 30% that we're going to be annoyed about, and how much damage will that do? Look, it's oversimplified, but I understand. Also, Felix, thank you for the super chat, $8.99. Genuinely grateful for the stream. My night would have been rough without it. Yeah, if nothing else, I hope you guys got a bit of a giggle out of Planet Walk. That was a bit of fun. Okay.
Yeah, I think where we're at, right, as it's very easy to be filled with doom and gloom, and I think if National charge in and do some of the things that they've been talking about, if we see mass layoffs of government departments before Christmas, if we see all of those things, our job as people that see this coming is to absolutely make a ruckus about it, to point at all of the articles and all the commentary that we've had going, these guys don't know their numbers. This doesn't stack up. This was never going to work. And they pushed it through. And now we're here. We've got to do our damnedest to make sure that this is a one-term government. That's where it stands now.
Yep.
Yeah, however you're going to do that. I mean, quite publicly, the left had no money going into this. Labour were practically begging on social media last week for funds, because the landlords and the business owners, they were all happy to just give to ACT and give to National. Like, it's an enormous amount of money, and it does count. The ads, the constant messaging, the limp dick legacy media that were just running with talking points. If we've got someone to blame, that's what it is. There's a.
Can I just say one thing? I'm not cutting your vibe going on.
No,
but Labour's done and this is not. I mean, people were saying to us, to me today on Twitter, "Oh, we're going to have a reaction like TYT in 2016." No, because to be honest, I've been thinking this for a month. I haven't said it necessarily publicly because I haven't wanted to be with someone who also contributed to people going, well, it's no use in voting then. But Chewy will tell you, I've been saying this for pretty much a month, that maybe not quite as big as this, but this is the expected thing. But yes, lay a lot of blame with the media, but lay more blame with Labour For Labor not to do what the CTU did 10 days out from an election, it's abysmal. It's just the worst of the worst. So yeah, the media didn't do a good job in vetting the messaging and doing the digging, but neither did Labor, and they didn't give us something to vote for, so people didn't vote for them. It's pretty easy, really.
I mean, I just saw a comment on Twitter of someone going, "Yeah, look, it's grim, but if there's something to take out of it, that the Labor MPs that are, say, more responsible for the suckfulness of the government are all being taught a lesson, and they're all losing their seats. Now, this is a chance for them to maybe reflect. Maybe this is the lesson that they need. I mean, we've been quite vocal in the fact that they left a policy with broad support on the floor.
Yep.
Which was either a wealth tax or a capital gains tax, one or the other. But that had broad support. And they could have run with that, but they just ruled it out, and they ruled it out of the hands of their support parties as well. It was a captain's call. It was the wrong call.
Yeah. And look, this is interesting comment by Gareth as well. We're going to go take some Discords after this. To be honest, I felt Chippy was primed for opposition when he took over. I don't think he's primed for opposition because I don't think he'll be the opposition leader. I think you might see him move on quite quickly. Maybe not from politics, but from the leadership once he goes into opposition. That's my thoughts on this. Right, let's go and have a chat with...
Can I just highlight one chat before we do that?
Yep.
Because he's been with us all night, just waiting for this moment. Wonderful news tonight. It's going to be great to see Labour, Greens and Te Pāti Māori no longer leading New Zealand. I'm looking forward to not seeing gang patches in the street. Can we hold you to that?
Yeah.
Can we hold you to that?
And National to that as well.
Yeah. They've tried it before. It doesn't work.
Let's have a couple of chats in the... we are going to have Suze Wilson come and join us. We'll wrap up the show with her because we're at 2 hours now. We'll go over chat with some people in Discord. Quick chats, and then we'll move on for the night and go and get ice cream. I think we're going to start with Ross. Oh, sorry, Ross. I'm just messing that up, aren't I? There we go. Hello, Ross. You with us?
Hey, how you going?
Yeah, good man. How you doing?
Yeah. No, I mean, not too bad, all things considered.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I just want to pop on here and say thanks for, the work that you guys have been doing over the last couple of months. You guys have been popping up on my TikTok For You feed just about every time I go on there. And,
nice.
Yeah, you guys have been very informative, and obviously we all kind of lean left around here, but yeah, I think you guys have been pretty unbiased for the most part, which has been really nice and refreshing.
I think, not to correct you, rather than saying we're unbiased, I would say that we're fair, because I am biased.
Yes, that's a better way of putting it.
I sit on the left. I have a left bias, but when the left needs a kick in the ass, we're not going to shy away from that. So I like the word fair, rather than balanced, rather than unbiased, because it's like we all have bias. This is the thing that the complainers don't understand. The people they like to listen to, they have a bias. They're just not as blunt and obvious as their bias as we choose to be.
Yeah, no, you're definitely right there.
Yeah. All right. Anything else, real quick, Ross?
No, yeah, just want to say thanks.
All right.
Keep up the good work.
Appreciate your call, or if that's what this is still called. I still don't know what to call it, Chewy, but thanks for that. And we've got B here as well. I think I've just got the letter B, so I'll just say hello, B. If you want to tell us a name, turn your mic on there, B, and we'll go from there. Giving a chance one more time for B. We're not going to mess around too much. It's been pretty good tonight. There we go.
What?
There we go. It's you.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I was just muting the stream for a second. Sorry about that.
That's all right.
Hey, I just got a quick question. Like, with the way the votes are counted, because I've seen, obviously, like, overseas, a lot of the times, like, certain demographics, because of the way they vote with early voting and stuff like that, certain types of votes get counted first, and so certain demographics get overrepresented earlier in the night. Do you know if there's any chance of that here?
There will be a chance, but the disparity is so large at the moment. Like at the moment, it's saying,
obviously that, but like obviously I'm not saying it will have a flip and it will suddenly flood red, but like what is that factor? and which way does it go?
Well, they often say that a lot of the specials go to the Greens, and I've heard in the past that one of the reasons for that is lots of international votes go Green. So, as I said, what often happens is the Greens often pick up a seat or two once all the specials have come in. And look, at the moment, even if they picked up two based on predictions right now, it would still be a comfortable win to National and ACT by themselves.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
the specials often go Green. It looks like I was going to say the early votes went National, but it also seems to be trending that way through the daily votes, the people who voted on the day as well. So it might just be National's night overall.
Yeah, well, that much is unfortunately obvious at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah, because overseas voting is generally left wing, so
Yeah.
those would be counted later.
Yeah.
Would they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. And also overseas voting and specials just in general as well, because specials just in general include, like I did a special vote because I didn't have my card with me, so they had to go and find it and give me all this stuff and then do it. Or if you vote from outside your region, like we were talking to Tim earlier as well. Hey, thanks, Pete. We're going to leave it there because we're going to take one more call, one more chat with Dr. Suze Wilson before we wrap up for the night, and then we're going to bid you all a fond farewell. And Chewy, you can tell us whether we're going to get ice cream or not. But let's welcome to the show, friend of the show, contributor through this period of looking at. Sorry, I'm going to pause. Sorry, Suze, because I want to say this first of all, because a really generous super chat's come in for $100. So we'll just pause for a second. And say, I voted ACT, but still enjoy your commentary here tonight. Keep it up, boys. George from Epsom. So that's the real George Bush 45. Just gave us gave a $100 super chat. Who was an ACT voter? That is an interesting dynamic, actually. Does that
You
just
know
go
what
to
I
show that
appreciate
we're
about
fair?
this?
What?
I appreciate someone
The $100
from the right. Yeah, someone from the right coming in, just stating the facts and not being a smug asshole. Like, that needs to be pointed out when it happens, because you don't often see it on social media. You can have these conversations and go, hey, look, I voted a different way. I believe a different thing. And usually it's a somewhat sane conversation. But on social media, it's like, well, you're a rat fuck that just wants to set people in wheelchairs on fire, is usually the way that it goes. So I appreciate someone coming in from a different position from us, saying that what we're doing is valid. It shows integrity.
Very good. And genuinely
Still
appreciate
disagree with your vote.
Super chat. So thank you, George. Really, really generous and kind. See, ACT party members can be kind, but also look where all the money is. It's on the right, isn't it, Joey? In politics. No, just kidding around. Genuine thanks for the super chat. It was very generous of you. Right, now let's get into it. Welcome to the show. Been a friend of the show through the last couple of years or 18 months that we've been talking about this upcoming election. An academic within leadership at Massey University is Dr. Suze Wilson. Hi, Suze. Welcome to the show.
Kia ora, guys. How are you?
Kia ora. Doing all right. How are you doing?
Interesting evening.
Yeah. Well, talk to us about that. I mean, I said earlier, and I retracted it. I said earlier you'd been critical of Christopher Luxon, and then I retracted that because it's not what you were doing. Is you made analysis as an academic of his leadership rather than necessarily. I wasn't putting on you've been critical of the right. It was like your analysis of him was a certain way. How do you feel about tonight, especially coming at it that you've been writing about leadership and this election for the last several months?
Yeah, I mean, I think it is still too early to see where it's going to land, but based on what we can see at the moment, clearly, Luxon has, National is on the rise compared to where they were. And I guess in that regard, he has been able to, project with real confidence what it is that he thinks he is offering the electorate. And, been very, if you like, on message. The flip side of that is that it's been, and there's some really interesting analysis by the data journalism team at RNZ that, how often he just doesn't answer questions that I think is a worrying sign. You know, if he's going to be the next Prime Minister, you want somebody who is actually willing to answer questions straight and can actually engage with the questions that are being asked of them, just rather than just endlessly repeating their talking points. So I think
although I wonder what will be interesting to see, Suze, is whether that was just a tactic to get elected versus how he'll operate as a Prime Minister.
Yeah, I mean, I think
that might be a part of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think you know, it is true to say that campaigning is not governing, and he's clearly. My guess is he's probably quite extroverted because he appears to have really enjoyed being out talking to people, and my guess would be that Hipkins is more introverted and he's found that quite hard work. But yeah, campaigning is not governing, and I do think there have been some odd strategic calls that they've made, you know, particularly opening the door to Winston Peters and then, you know, basically trying to slam it shut again, I thought was very odd. And yeah, I mean, it still concerns me that, you know, a major party campaigning on policies which, you know, no independent analyst is saying adds up. If people have just said, well, we don't care about that, well, okay, you know, that's democracy for you, but it concerns me. You know, I think whoever the party is, you want to have confidence that when they say we can do this and we can afford this, that's true. Yeah, so I still feel quite concerned about what it is that we're going to get. So
for your kind of colleagues, like working in academia.
Yeah, I just hope
university,
that what's going on here?
Did you drop?
I think
have
we lost Pat?
No, I can hear him.
No, I think we've lost you.
Oh, okay, maybe it's on my end then.
I can hear both of you.
I was going to say, Suze, for working within academia, do your colleagues talk about concerns under a national act government, like, because, you know, publicly funded universities? Is there any concerns you guys end up having?
Well, I mean, I think we've been under such a funding squeeze anyway. That in that regard, it was kind of like, well, Labor, what are you gonna do too? So, but I do think that those of us who are engaged in, you know, stuff that concerns matters of public policy, you know, seeing parties pursue policies that for which there is no good, you know, evidential support, like the youth, what do they call them, the boot camps. You know, there is just no good evidence to suggest that is a sound policy. You know, I've not heard any commentary from anybody who researches in that space who is willing to support that policy. So the more you see those kinds of things advancing, the more you start to go, well, okay, so what essentially we've got here is some version of populism, which is not desirable.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
Well, listen, anything else you want to wrap up with, Chewy, before we head off?
It's not over till it's the fat lady sings.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it is, but for the makeup of the parties, but it seems pretty clear. People are making speeches. Grant Robertson, it's been reported, Grant Robertson just gave a speech that said, not the result we're looking for, saying that it's disappointing, but still early days. So, you know, and Spinoff has already called Luxon the next Prime Minister. So,
right.
Not that they make the decision, but, you know, yeah, it's looking pretty done.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's probably pretty clear that that's what's going to happen. It's just what that configuration looked like, and I'd be surprised if it ends up quite as split as it is at the moment. Yeah.
All right, Chewy, you got anything to wrap up with for Suze, or anything you want to say?
No, I'm all good. I think I'm having some internet problems. I'm catching about every third word there.
Okay. All right, Suze. Thanks for joining us, mate. All the best.
Thanks.
Appreciate your time. Appreciate your work up until the election as well. Hopefully you can still hear me okay, Chewy, because I thought what we might do just for you, sir, is we have to at least, I mean, what's happening now is all the politicians are coming out and they're making their speeches and they're saying things here and there. Obviously, this is not live, in case any media groups watching, because we wouldn't take your stuff live because that might be a problem. But several minutes ago, Chloe got up and had a bit of a chat. I haven't pre-seen this. We'll see what she's got to say. There.
She's about to speak too. See if we can
She's
listen.
a rock star, isn't she, for the Greens? They
She's
love
a
her.
rock star.
You can see, what you can see on the bottom is actually Rongotai. The Greens are heading Rongotai right now, early on.
Can I make a comment on this after she's spoken?
Baby! Look around you! Look around you. The power in this room is phenomenal. Okay, look, in 2020, we said that no electorate and no community, no neighbourhood belongs to any politician, belongs to any political party. We take absolutely nothing for granted. And we work absolutely every single day to earn the trust and the privilege of representing our
I'm just pausing it to see if the music. I think the music's on that video, obviously. So I'm not sure where it's coming from, but it's on the video.
communities. Because that's what grassroots community building and change looks like. It looks like all of you. And folks, I mean, I know that we've all been paying attention to what's happening around us right here in Auckland Central, but can we just have a moment for Wellington Central?
All right, we'll pull out of this, not because Chloe deserves us to pull out of it, but it's there's going to be those speeches going on for the next several hours now, all over the place. I think what we're going to do, Chewy, is we're going to wrap up. Unless there's anything you want to add in, we're going to go through the electorates again. We're going to see what it is right now, because she's calling it. She's saying we did it. I guess that she's claiming victory there. So let's go and have a look at I was about to say the final count. I mean, for us tonight, the last as we look at it for tonight, before we head off. So 40% of the vote is in. Nationals looking to get over 40%, which I don't think any commentator would have predicted. Labor still hovering around that 26. Greens 10.5. ACT 9.25. New Zealand First jumped back up again. This is probably the today's votes being counted after the so-called media sold the surge thing the whole time, up over 6%. Te Pāti Māori on 2.5, and then others on 4.33. It gives at the moment projection of 52 and 12, which is 64. So there you go. They've already lost a seat from the last projections we did. And it gives New Zealand First 8, which of course, remember, that person who is number 8 on the list is the person who wants to hold Nuremberg 2.0. So if they get 8 seats in, that person is going to Parliament. Te Pāti Māori with 6. That's a pretty spectacular result. So Labour and the Greens make 45. Te Pāti Māori 6 makes 51. You can see it's nowhere near, not even within cooey of New Zealand First. Based on these numbers will change, but they'll change probably within margin of error. They're not going to. I mean, Labour's not going to pick up 10 seats. The Greens aren't going to pick up another 5. You know, they'll change subtly, but I think obviously National and ACT are feeling quite chipper at the moment on 64. That means they can still lose 3 seats as the rest of the votes come in and be comfortable. Elam, I always want to call it Elam. Elam now 47% of the vote. That current margin is still 5,000. So therefore, in the last half of the vote, a whole lot of the vote has to go to RAF for him to get through. Let's have a refresh and have a look at the Māori seats. Hauraki Waikato and the Naimahuta falling further behind, nearly 1,000 now. Labour ahead in Ikaroa Rāwhiti by 1,600. Look at this one. Peony Hanare is slipped back into second place. So Tamaki Makaurau is going to take weeks to sort out. Debbie Narua Paka up by over 3,500. Another toss-up here. Calvin Davis from Labour is behind by about 100 in Te Tai Tokoro. Te Pāti Māori ahead by 723 in Te Tai Tonga, which I think is they're starting to expand a bit. And Rawiri absolutely wrapping it up in Wairiki. So, rocking it for the Māori Party, certainly. Mount Albert, which we've been looking at. 370, the vote now, difference between Helen White and Melissa Lee. That's dropped a little bit. Auckland Central, pardon me, was Chloe calling it? Well, I guess with the current margin of 1,500, maybe that's enough with 40% of the vote coming in. And Tamaki, with 53% of the vote in, Brooke Van Velden's going to win that. over 3,000, close towards 3,500 is the current margin. What's my last one? Oh, Hamilton East. We don't care about Hamilton East. We just looked at that because someone else thought it was interesting. What else, Chewy? Anything else to wrap up with? Go.
I'm assuming you can hear me quite well, Pat. I didn't get any of that. I haven't heard anything for about the past 2 or 3 minutes. I get 1 out of every 5 words. So hopefully this is going to work. I am going to co-opt something that somebody very smart said at a very much worse moment in time for his community. It's very easy to get really disheartened and disappointed when things like this with such big consequences don't go your way. So I'm going to play this. Just a short little clip, but I think
and now is the time
really important
to plot, plan, strategize, organize, and mobilize. It is
that's the message that you take away when politics doesn't go your way. It's time to brush yourself off, plan how you're going to fight it, and hopefully do better next time. And I hope that we can send that message to the party that has let us down this time round.
Yeah. All right. Thank you again. There's another lovely super chat from NZ Doom. NZ Doom, you've been very generous. I appreciate that. Chocolate sauce is a must tonight. Caleb as well. Super chat from there. Wonder how close the final results will be compared to the latest polling. Feels like there's something systematically off with them. Appreciate the very generous $20 super chat there, Caleb, as well. I think it's one of those things when the polling's off, we always say, oh, the polling's off. When the polling works, we're like, oh yeah, polling works pretty much. I think, maybe it's an example of what we always hear people who are losing say, the only poll that matters is election day. Chewy's, I've noticed that Chewy has marked a couple of messages in here as well. Australia voted no on The Voice, so basically we all suck. And Gareth says, looking forward to BHN in opposition going forward. It's been a really hard slog trying to defend the left lately. Now we get to attack the government. Loads more fun.
Got to hold the government to account.
Yeah, well, thank you for the kind words.
The Voice referendum over in Australia is incredibly disappointing, but there's a lesson there for us as well. You can't have a referendum about race relations. You just can't do it. You have to do the right thing. You have to be a government. You can't just phone it in and go, well, we'll throw it out to a referendum when the balance is so off. Of course, white people don't care about it. It doesn't affect them at all. Australia has an abysmal record for race relations. That there was only ever going to be one way that went. And if you're an Aboriginal person in Australia now, wow, what do you think the people that you share a country with, what do you think of them now? That's fucking grim.
All right. Hey, listen, folks, thanks for being with us tonight. Thanks for being with us for this election cycle. The one thing we did say that was almost a guarantee was that there wouldn't be a government on Monday when we came back to do the show. There might be a government on Monday when we come back to do the show. It might be the case. And all I'll say about that is that any time is ice cream time, Joey. And I think we're going to wrap up for the night now.
It's like you're trying to give me these really subtle hints.
And we will say goodbye to all of you and thank you for joining us tonight. Very much appreciate the super chats tonight. It's lovely. It'll go straight into the pot to help pay for what we've been doing. And, not to do a big pitch, but if you want to be a patron, you can head to patreon.com/Big Hairy News. Sign up over there. You can download the audio versions of our podcast, #BHN at Apple Podcasts. And we're number 2 in the charts, I think, at the moment. So you can help us by having a listen tomorrow in that. And just thank you for being a part of everything we've done. And I guess we'll just finish by saying we will see you Monday night for another edition of Big Hairy News. And whether that will be the start of the resistance or something else. I guess that's what
do we need to talk to Karen about taking his slogan? He doesn't need it
No.
anymore.
No, we can resist. All right, team, we're done for the night. Thank you so much for being with us. We will catch you Monday night, and we'll see you in the Twitterverse through the weekend, I'm sure. Go the All Blacks tomorrow morning. I'm sure Chewy's into that. And be well, be safe, and see you Monday night from 9 p.m. Hooroo.